It's going too much. Oh.
The Arena with Chris and Ibogo is the platform where we meet to take critical analysis of burning and topical issues and matters in the society as to proper solutions on making the society better.
You came into office, you lock the door to everybody. Nobody can even access you. You don't even play the politics.
Month in, month out, year in, year out. So where is the money going to? Where's the resources?
Whenever the economy is in a shambles, you find the government embracing pro-people policy to assuage the harsh economic reality.
It was used to settle political interest, and Nigerians were paying dearly for it.
Tune in to the Arena with Chris and Ibogo every Monday through Thursday by 1 p.m. only on Aneke TV. Join us.
Still on the news, Tunisian opposition leader allegedly tortured during hunger strike. Senegal's president and ruling party lock horns. Internal feud threatens Starmer's authority ahead of crucial budget. Longest U.S. government shutdown ends. House reaches threshold to force vote on Jeffrey Epstein file release. The family and legal team of prominent Tunisian opposition leader Johar Ben Mbarek have leveled severe accusation against prison authorities, claiming he was brutally assaulted and tortured in an attempt to force him to end his 2-week-old hunger strike. Ben Mbarek, a vocal opponent of President Kais Saied, was jailed in 2023 and is currently serving an 18-year sentence on charges of conspiring against the state, which he denies as fabricated. His lawyers, Hanan Kimiri, stated that Ben Mbarek was severely beaten by 4 prison guards in an area without surveillance cameras, noting she observed fractures and bruises on his body. The alleged assault is part of a broader tension involving a wave of hunger strikes by at least 5 jailed opposition figures, including Rached Ghannouchi, who are protesting their confinement and the perceived political nature of the charges against them. The prison authority has not responded to requests for comment on the specific assault allegations, although it had previously denied reports of deteriorating health among hunger striking detainees. Ben Mbarek's father reported the incident to the prison director, who promised an investigation. This incident escalates concerns among rights groups who accuse President Saied's government of using the judiciary to silence dissent amid a perceived slide towards authoritarian rule. Saied, who seized broad powers in 2021, denies this accusation, insisting the judiciary is independent, while often referring to opposition leaders as traitors and mercenaries. Senegal's political stability is being questioned after the president Bassirou Diomaye Faye and the ruling Pastef party, of which he is a member, issued conflicting statements regarding the leadership of the governing coalition. This public dissension among the top leadership confirms existing rumors of a power struggle between President Faye and his Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko. The conflict arose when President Faye announced he was appointing former Prime Minister Aminata Traoré, a close ally, to lead coalition that supported his presidential campaign. Directly contradicting this, the Pastef party, led by Sonko, stated it would continue to recognize Aïssata Mbodji, who is loyal to Sonko, as the legitimate coalition leader. This political instability is occurring while Senegal is in crucial, drawn-out negotiations with the International Monetary Fund (IMF) for a new lending program. Following the freezing of a previous $1.8 billion package, Prime Minister Sonko recently sent the country's international bonds sharply lower after stating the government would not accept the IMF's suggestion for a debt restructuring to address significant debt vulnerabilities. President Faye and PM Sonko both hail from the same political party and have previously denied rumors of a power struggle. Sonko, a popular figure, had nominated the less-known Faye as his replacement for the 2024 presidential election after barred from contesting. Faye then appointed Sonko as his prime minister. Any suggestion of the squad raises the possibility of further delays in the IMF negotiations, following Sonko's remark about debt restructuring and now the internal leadership conflict. Senegal's bond dropped by more than 3 cents to a new 4-month low, highlighting market concern over the political unity and the country's economic future. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer's authority is being severely questioned as a rift widens within the Labour Party following a damaging leak to the media by unnamed allies. The briefing, which suggested Starmer would fight off a potential leadership challenge even though none had materialized, has infuriated and alienated Labour lawmakers. Lawmakers speaking anonymously criticized the incidents as evidence that Starmer and his team lack political nous and are operating with a bunker mentality. This means decisions are reportedly made by a handful of advisors without wider consultation, leading to repeated political misfires ahead of an unpopular November budget. Starmer quickly distanced himself from the plot briefing, asserting in Parliament that he never authorized attacks and that his team was united. However, the target of the apparent plot, Health Minister Wes Streeton, publicly denied any challenge, branding the briefing totally self-defeating and referring to a toxic culture in Downing Street. This recent episode compounds earlier issues that have weakened Starmer's position since his huge election win in July 2024. These missteps include forcing Starmer to drop land welfare courts due to internal revolts and the government facing questions over the removal of the UK's ambassador to the US and his deputy's resignation. Starmer had previously called a rare meeting to try and reassert his authority, a move that proved unsuccessful. Despite the deep criticism, with one veteran lawmaker calling Starmer the most detached prime minister he has served under, lawmakers considered it would be very difficult to remove him unless he chose to step down. President Donald Trump has signed legislation to end the longest U.S. government shutdown in history, which lasted 43 days. The action came hours after the House of Representatives passed the funding package, allowing federal workers to be paid, restoring critical services like air traffic control, and reviving food assistance programs. The Republican-controlled House voted 222 to 209 to approve the measure, with President Trump's support keeping most Republicans in line, despite strong opposition from House Democrats. Democrats were angry that the bill failed to secure an extension of federal health insurance subsidies, which are due to expire at the end of the year. The deal extends government funding only through January 30th, leaving the possibility of another funding crisis looming soon. Trump signed the bill late Wednesday, stating in the Oval Office, "We can never let this happen again," while criticizing Democrats. The shutdown, by many economists estimate, have been shaving more than 1/10 of a percentage point from gross domestic product (GDP). And now to business news. President Bola Tinubu has thrown his weight behind a series of major financial concessions for the distressed Nigerian media, endorsing proposals for corporate tax relief and value-added tax VAT exemptions on essential inputs. Speaking at the 21st All-Nigerian Editors Conference, Aneke, the president assured the Nigeria Guild of Editors (NGE) that he backed the request, which also include access to affordable loans for digital migration. NGE President Eze Anamba had warned that soaring costs such as newsprint rising to 1.4 million per ton were pushing media houses toward collapse. While offering this lifeline, President Tinubu simultaneously charged editors to uphold a gatekeeping role with patriotism and fairness. He cautioned that misinformation could undermine national cohesion and urged them to choose clarity over confusion when reporting. Meanwhile, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma, the keynote speaker, reminded editors they are catalysts for democracy, urging them to champion electoral integrity ahead of the 2027 general election. Still on business, Nigeria's economy continued to grow steep in October, expanding for the 11th consecutive month, according to the Central Bank of Nigeria's Purchasing Managers Index (PMI). The composite PMI rose to 55.4 points, up from 54.0 in September, signaling a stronger and more broad-based expansion across industry, services, and agricultural sectors. The service sector led the charge with a PMI of 55.6, followed closely by agriculture at 55.7, marking its 15th month of growth. The industry sector also improved to 54.2, with 9 of its 17 subsectors expanding. Educational services posted the strongest growth, while petroleum and coal products saw the steepest decline. Despite a few contractions, the overall outlook remains upbeat, a sign of steady recovery and broad economic momentum. And to sports. The Super Eagles have resumed training ahead of today's crucial 2026 World Cup playoff against Gabon after a one-day strike over unpaid allowances. The team protested unpaid bonuses dating back to the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations, accusing the Nigerian Football Federation and NFF of negligence regarding their welfare. Following an emergency meeting with top officials from the National Sport Commission (NSC) and the NFF, the players agreed to return to work in the interest of the nation. Sources indicate the team received concrete promises that all outstanding money would be paid before or immediately after the end of African playoff round. And now to entertainment. The marital drama in the household of billionaire Ned Woko has intensified, with his Moroccan wife Laila Cherani publicly calling out for junior wife actress Regina Daniels and leveling serious allegations against her. In an Instagram post, Laila fiercely refuted Regina's previous claims of providing her with financial support, demanding a comparison of their bank accounts. Laila stated she was content with her husband's provision and accused Regina of currently fighting her husband because he wants her to address a drug and alcohol addiction. Laila shockingly alleged that she almost lost her marriage 6 years ago after Regina introduced her to drugs and she was rescued by Ned Woko. Furthermore, Laila claimed she would not trust her daughters around Regina unsupervised, alleging Regina was sleeping with every single girl around her. She urged Regina to seek help immediately. And finally, before we go, here's a recap of our stories. Federal government approves 50 billion naira to clear health workers' arrears. Nigeria set to increase healthcare funding. Senate mandates investigation into alleged irregularities in INEC's worry creation. Witness testified to massive state account drains. Nigeria's economy keeps growing and services, its agriculture leads to the charge. Super Eagles end strike focus on Gabon playoff. That's the Aneke news at 9. For more news and live updates, follow us across all social media platforms: Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. On behalf of the producer Chidima Sogwa and the entire news team, I'm Deborah Wakaba, thanking you for watching.
The Arena with Chris and Ibogo is the platform where we meet to take critical analysis of burning and topical issues and matters in the society as to proper solutions on making the society better.
You came into office, you locked the door to everybody. Nobody can even access you. You don't even play the politics.
Month in, month out, year in, year out. So where is the money going to? Where's the resources?
Whenever the economy is in a shambles, you find the government embracing pro-people policy to assuage the harsh economic reality.
It was used to settle political interest, and Nigerians were paying dearly for it.
Tune in to the Arena with Chris and Ibogo every Monday through Thursday by 1 p.m. only on Aneke TV. Join us.
And we are on the street today to find out what Nigerians think about some trending issues in the society. Please join us as they share their thoughts.
First of all, I'm not passionate about leaving the country per se, like the jackpot thing. For me, I want to actually stay in this country and then build myself. If I should go outside the country, should for vacation and come back. So I'm not really interested in the illegal parts, or whether it is legal or illegal. I'm not really interested.
I just want to be free. I like freedom. I like comfort. So if I'm leaving, I want it to be legal.
Human trafficking in Nigeria is not something we hear about every day, but then we know it's happening. But we don't hear about measures they take to curb this thing happening in the country. I don't necessarily have to say they are doing very well, but from the news, we don't hear things we don't hear things like them getting curbing it, or maybe them busting out these women traffickers. We don't hear things like, okay, so number of persons were caught trafficking and then they have been jailed or an action has been taken against them. We don't hear these things, so we don't know if they're actually doing enough. So we'd actually urge them to do these things, and when they do it, they have to let the public know that, okay, we as a government, we are fighting human trafficking.
When you talk about human traffickers are talking about exchanging of, that is sending our young ones outside for personal purposes and personal profits. Well, what I will actually say is because the way this country is something less now. Because the first thing that the government need to do is have to fish out those who are involved in it, and I know they are doing it. Now, one benefit I know as a computer scientist or as a computer engineer is making use of what this AI to fish out them. If they can improve on that technology, I believe they can easily be able to track out those who are involved in it. And once they are able to track out those in it, then those who are involved should face the persecution, should face the law. What the law says about it, then they should be able to face it. By the time they face it, I believe things like this will reduce. So my advice to the government is for them to improve their technology and how to track this thing. But for now, for me as a scientist, Nigeria is really lacking behind in terms of improvement of technology. That's what I actually want them to improve on. Nigeria is actually lacking behind in terms of technology. By the time they improve in technology, I believe tracking of this human trafficking will be very easy for Nigerians to do.
For human traffickers, I feel like there should be a capital punishment because no one deserves to be trafficked, and it's actually a very, very serious offense.
It's something the government should take into consideration. It's not something we hear about all the time, but then it's something that still happens, and it still happens in many places, but then we don't really hear about it that much. So the government should actually do something or take any measure to curb human trafficking.
I don't really care about that. Again, I feel like everybody should mind their business. It's their marriage and it's their life. There's a reason why Regina Daniels is coming out to everybody to complain. Probably she's too scared to face it, out in her marriage. You understand? Because I heard that she was domestically abused. So that can, traumatize her to do anything. So she's not seeking help from outside people. Nonetheless, anyone that works for them.
I don't think it's over. I think it's just hitting a rough patch. Yeah. Because, as they say, you cannot get in between two lovers. As she said in her recent post that she married him out of that she fell in love with him. So
I am Chidimi Kemede, Aneke TV.
The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the bold mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter whose ox is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices, uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on The Insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us.
The November edition of Nkata Umuibe, held at the Center for Memories in Enugu, examined the state of human rights in Igbo land under the theme Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ. Guest speaker and human rights advocate Mr. Larry Ogwego emphasized the interdependence between people and community, likening it to that of water and fish. He traced the concept of human rights in Igbo society to pre-colonial traditions of justice and fairness, and decried ongoing abuses by security agencies and government institutions.
When we talk about interrogate, we are talking about asking serious questions, asking questions aggressively about the state of human rights in our Igbo. But before that question of the state of human rights in our Igbo, there's a very interesting statement, a very interesting philosophical statement in Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ. So that statement speaks to the fact that without the understanding of Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ, you may not even fully appreciate what we are going to be talking about. Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ speaks about the fact that there is no way you can make progress in a society if you do not recognize interdependence. Mmiri actually accommodates the Azụ. The water accommodates the fish. Without the water, the fish will not survive. But guess what? Without the fish, the water will lose part of its relevance. As a matter of fact, in several riverine areas, what takes people to the water is the fish. So if you remove the fish from the water, people may not even know the water is there. Besides being a means of moving from one point to another, one major reason people go to the water is to get fish. So there is this interdependence between Mmiri and Azụ, between the water and the fish. While the water looks like it's more important because it accommodates the fish, if you remove the fish, the water loses a large part of its relevance. And that is what we are looking at today, Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ, which speaks to different aspects of Igbo philosophy. Ewe bere, ugo bere, okata na akpa dipe, madi biaru no kono nogo, diri kam diri. All of these expressions speak to one fact, that we have to learn how to coexist peacefully to the benefit of all of us. So when you get that background, it lays a foundation for the conversation about the state of human rights in our Igbo.
Mr. Ogwego urged Ndi Igbo to revive communal values and use their strength to protect the vulnerable. The session, moderated by Mavis Norma, called on learning institutions to champion the restoration of human rights and dignity across our Igbo. Chidimi Kemede, Aneke TV.
The Arena with Chris and Ibogo is the platform where we meet to take critical analysis of burning and topical issues and matters in the society as to proper solutions on making the society better.
You came into office, you locked the door to everybody. Nobody can even access you. You don't even play the politics.
Month in, month out, year in, year out. So where is the money going to? Where's the resources?
Whenever the economy is in a shambles, you find the government embracing pro-people policy to assuage the harsh economic reality.
It was used to settle political interest, and Nigerians were paying dearly for it.
Tune in to the arena with Chris and Aneke every Monday through Thursday by 1 p.m. only on Aneke TV. Join us.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, 042, and a beautiful morning to everyone watching. You're tuned into Sunrise on Aneke TV, where every sunrise begins with positivity and purpose. You're welcome this morning. Your brightness and daily joy. I'm Deborah Wakoba, coming to you live from our studio here in vibrant Enugu.
Deborah, how are you?
I'm fine.
Looking beautiful.
Thank you very much. And you too, you're looking good too.
And good morning to you, our global audience. I'm Uche Osai. Wherever you are, at home, in your office, or in traffic, thank you for letting us into your space this morning. We're here to refresh, inform, and motivate.
Yes, it's Thursday, 13th November 2025, and of course it's another edition of Sunrise. So we have a power-packed morning today. We have the latest news, weather, hot topics, and that special Sunrise vibe to help you begin your day.
So grab that cup of coffee or tea, relax, enjoy the cruise, because the sunrise is set sail.
All right, so today we'll be starting things off with our quote of the day, with words that are thoughtful, inspiring, and to help us keep focused or stay well driven.
Then it's straight into the day's top headlines. All the key updates you need to remain informed will be served hot and tasty.
Yes, and we'll also be giving you that full weather report covering cities across the southeast, so you know what to expect before you step out, or if you've stepped out already, it's to help you throughout the rest of the day.
And later we'll wrap things out with the global holidays. Fun updates, celebrations to keep you smiling and keep your spirit lifted.
All right, now let's go to our morning show inspiration segment. So today we'll be taking a look or a moment to reflect on a powerful African proverb that says, not everyone who chased the zebra caught it, but he who caught it chased it. I'm going to take that proverb again. An African proverb that says, not everyone who chased the zebra caught it, but he who caught it chased it. And this is an African proverb, and that this saying reminds us, or it's reminding us about the relationship between effort and success. And it also means that while not everyone who tries will succeed, and everyone who succeeds had to try. And in other words, you can't win if you don't play. So success doesn't just happen, it comes to those who take action, who show persistence, and also those who keep chasing their goals, even when the odds seems tough. Now, this pro-African proverb that says, not everyone who chased the zebra caught it, but he who caught it chased it. Now, we can see that everyone might be going after a goal, going after an opportunity, but then at the end of the day, one person has to get it, and that person keeps on being persistent. That person keeps on trying and trying as hard, no matter what, that person finally or later got to the end result. And now, so the zebra in this proverb symbolizes ambition. It symbolizes opportunity or a dream. We all have dreams. We all have one thing we're aspiring to be. We have inspirations. We have something that inspires us and something that it's of value, that even though it might be difficult to catch, it might be difficult for us to see. Most people don't even see to the end, because some people, once they get to that area, they get tired. They get to half of the journey and they're tired at the end of the day. But if you keep on being persistent, if you keep on pursuing your goal even though you're tired, at the end of the day you find the end result. So many people may chase after what they are pursuing, after what they want to achieve in life, but only the one who stays focused, disciplined and determined will eventually succeed. And Mr. Aucha, I would like to know your own thoughts on this quote.
All right, my taking on this is simply as you've really summarized. Africans are very deep when it comes to using words, you understand, to laced in deep thinking to convey meanings. And this proverb this morning, that not everyone who chases the zebra caught it, but he who caught it chased it. You rightly pointed out, speaking to efforts. At the end of the day, what matters is not effort. What matters in life is results. You may have, put in all your best, but the results is not showing the same. So what do you do? Keep pushing. Because at the end of the day, what really matters is the results that you are showing. At the end of it, what you show is not effort. What you show is results. It's just like when we were in school. At the end of the day, you go to school every day. Do you understand? Yes, everyone see you going to school. But at the end of the day, what they will ask you is, what position did you take? They won't ask you in school as early as possible. They won't ask that you were the one that has been answering questions in class and all. What matters is the result. Yes, when you bring the report card, what's the evidence? Your position in class. That's what determines the effort. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter the excuse you have on the way. If you sleep by the wayside, get up, keep running, keep at the target, keep chasing it till success becomes the result. And that's what matters in life. And this quote, rightly points out to us, using the zebra as a mark of symbolism, as that target, as that success, that, though a lot of men, let's go to the hunters. A lot of the hunters go to the bush for hunts. And what matters is not the near success stories, right? What matters is that when you're coming back, they see you with a zebra, you have an antelope in your hand to show for the toil in the forest through the night, through the day. That's the evidence that, yes, you're a good hunter. So in whatever you do, what matters is results. Excuses, challenges would not present the effort. What marks the commitment, the resilience, the effort put in is success. So you can have dream, yes, but that's not enough. Until that dream is shown evidently for people to see as success, then that's when the efforts will say to have been worth it. So it doesn't matter whatever goals you have, whatever dreams you have, like you just said, it should be persistent. Just like the student who goes to school every morning, but he knows that he will be graded. So your whole summation is based on your position in class, and in life, your whole summation is based on the success that you present. When you come to workplace, you understand, at the end of the day, what your superiors are after is the results. They don't tell you or ask you, did you sleep last night to be able to achieve results? What they want is that when you come in the morning, present results. That's the evidence that you really put in the time, you really put in the effort.
Thank you very much for that. Well, actually, what you said is the whole truth. Like at the end of the day, what matters is the evidence. So you might be going through difficulties. The road will be rough for you to fulfill or accomplish that dream you are chasing. So please, I would like to say you should chase your zebra, even though no matter the challenges you're going through, no matter what you're facing, even though life throws, like what people normally say, when life throws lemon at you, make a lemonade. So go through that thing. It might be to your advantage. Now, there are many struggles. There are many people taking lots of risk. And that risk is what would build you. There's this saying I like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yes, and so every pebble thrown at you should be a stepping stone to climb higher.
Yes, and all of this are part of the journey of life. It's something that can make you strong. It's more of gaining experience. Now, if it's a straight road, you won't value it. Believe me, you won't value that thing. Like if you should wake up in the morning every day and see food on your table, just like that, trust me, you will not value that food would not have value, because you already know, yes, I have this thing. Or when you're getting money, pocket money every day from your parents, for example, that money would not be valuable. But if you go through the stress of waking up every morning 6 a.m., going to work every day, trying to make an ends meet, trying to achieve something, trying to should I say get your life in check, trying to make something for your future, you would value that thing. So in as much as you're going through challenges in life, you're going through difficulties, you're going through whatever life gives at you, just keep on chasing that zebra, keep on chasing that dream, because zebra here means your dreams, your ambition, what you want to accomplish. Now keep on chasing it, because at the end of the day you would get it, and you would also value it. It is going to be valuable. You wanted to say something?
Just locking on the target.
Yeah.
Locking on the target.
Yes.
Get results. That's what matters. Your challenges are stories. People are not interested in your stories.
Yes.
People are interested in the results. It doesn't matter your challenges, you understand? You know, somebody sometime was saying that it takes success to cancel insults. I don't know, but true to it, at the end of the day,
just the way they say success is the sweet revenge.
Okay, so at the end of the day, what the world is after is your success. So irrespective of what the challenge is, lock your eye on the target like a crafted massman. Set your gaze on that target, hit your target, and when you hit that target, you will see the clap. People would give you ovation, and that's what really matters. At the end of the day, remain focused, remain locked on the target, and then bring the success home. That's the end point. That's what matters.
All right, thank you very much. So what this proverb is actually trying to teach us, or what it's trying to teach me in person, is that failure is not shameful. Now what is shameful is never trying at all. That when we don't try at all to accomplish something, that every accomplishment also begins with a courage. So as you go about your day to day, do not forget that each road, the road to success may be long, but only those who keep chasing their dreams have a chance to catch them. And also, as you go about your day, do not forget that each new sunrise is an invitation or an opportunity for us to grow, for us to try something new and learn, or simply be more present in whatever we do. Let us know what this quote means to you. You can drop your thoughts on Facebook, X, Instagram, or right here on YouTube, or at Aneke TV, or you can call our phone number 07030437110. We'll be going on a short break, and up next will be the weather report.
The Arena with Chris and Ibogo is the platform where we meet to take critical analysis of burning and topical issues and matters in the society as to proper solutions on making the society better.
You came into office, you locked the door to everybody. Nobody can even access you. You don't even play the politics.
Month in, month out, year in, year out. So where is the money going to? Where's the resources?
Whenever the economy is in a shambles, you find the government embracing pro-people policy to assuage the harsh economic reality.
It was used to settle political interest, and Nigerians were paying dearly for it.
Tune in to the Arena with Chris and Ibogo every Monday through Thursday by 1 p.m. only on Aneke TV. Join us.
You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV. Next, we'll take a look at the weather reports across major cities in the southeast today.
Yes, good morning, Oka. We start the day under cloudy skies, currently around 22 degrees Celsius. Expect a damp morning with showers around 9 a.m. at 24 degrees Celsius. Then a shift to cloudy conditions through the mid-morning and early afternoon as temperatures climb to around 29 degrees Celsius by 2 p.m. Into the evening, it cools off gently to about 24 to 26 degrees Celsius.
Hello, Enugu. The coast city starts mostly cloudy at 25 degrees Celsius. Expect steady warming, and by noon, we are reaching at about 30 degrees Celsius. And by early afternoon, some hazy sunshine kicks in, pushing temperatures to a peak of around 33 degrees Celsius. Evening brings some relief, with skies clearing a bit and heat easing into the highs of 20 degrees Celsius.
Yes, and in Abakaliki, here we go, starting at 24 degrees Celsius on the cloud cover, with rainfall likely around 9 a.m. at 26 degrees Celsius and again near 11 a.m. at 29 degrees Celsius. After that, cloud breaks or haze move in and temperatures climb to 31 to 32 degrees Celsius by early afternoon. Evening sees gradual cooling to around 27 to 28 degrees Celsius.
Good morning, Imo State. Owerri starts off cloudy at about 23 degrees Celsius. Rain or showers likely from 9 to 11 a.m. Climbing through the late morning to around 29 to 30 degrees Celsius by midday. Afternoon holds mostly cloudy skies with temperatures near 30 to 31 degrees Celsius. Evening will bring some relief, hovering around 25 to 26 degrees Celsius.
And lastly, Omar here waking up at around 23 degrees Celsius under cloudy skies. Rain is likely by 9 to 10 a.m. Then we move into mostly cloudy, partly sunny conditions, with the temperature rising to about 30 to 31 degrees Celsius by early afternoon. As the evening sets in, it cools off to near 27 to 28 degrees Celsius and down a bit further to 25 to 26 degrees Celsius by night.
So, wherever you are in the southeast today, stay safe, stay cool, keep an umbrella handy, but do remember that rain or shine, we've got you covered. And this is your weather report on Sunrise on Aneke TV. We'll be right back.
The Arena with Chris and Ibogo is the platform where we meet to take critical analysis of burning and topical issues and matters in the society as to proper solutions on making the society better.
You came into office, you locked the door to everybody. Nobody can even access you. You don't even play the politics.
Month in, month out, year in, year out. So where is the money going to? Where's the resources?
Whenever the economy is in a shambles, you find the government embracing pro-people policy to assuage the harsh economic reality.
It was used to settle political interest, and Nigerians were paying dearly for it.
Tune in to the Arena with Chris and Ibogo every Monday through Thursday by 1 p.m. only on Aneke TV. Join us.
Whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the broad mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter whose ox is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on the insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us.
You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV. Now let's take a quick look at what's making the front page headlines across major newspapers today in The Nation, Punch, Vanguard and The Guardian newspaper. Now on The Nation headline, we have conflict in court orders on convention, PDP faction clash. And on the Punch headlines, we have ex-generals fume as FG orders probe. And on the Vanguard headline, we have NGE insists on free press as Tinubu urges fairness, pledges recovery. On the Vanguard headline, we have Tinubu backs NGE's proposal for media tax relief, VAT exemption. Still on the Vanguard headline below, we have the UN names Nigeria, Mali among 16 hunger crisis hotspots. And lastly, in the Guardian headline, we have NGE insists on free press as Tinubu urges fairness, pledges recovery. And today's paper will be starting off with The Nation headline that says conflicting court orders on convention, PDP functions clash. And The main opposition party, the PDP, is caught in turmoil. Two factions are issuing conflicting instructions about the upcoming national convention scheduled for November 15 to 16 in Ibadan. The faction led by Umar Iliya Damagun insists the convention should go ahead, relying on an Ibadan High Court order that extended the right for the party to proceed. Mr. Uche, I would like to know your thoughts on this headline.
Okay, the issues with the PDP can be overemphasized. It's been at the front burner for months now in Nigeria, making headlines. And I would want to toe the line of people who keep on asking, why is the PDP making headlines in Nigeria continuously for the wrong reasons? And while I listened to one of the board of the trustees members yesterday speaking to this very issue, why the crisis in PDP keep making headlines, despite the fact that everybody wants to write off PDP, given by the myriad of crises that the PDP we are witnessing with PDP. He says it's to the fact that even the ruling party and every Nigerian knows what PDP can bring to the table come 2027. That's why the PDP, despite the myriad of challenges, the crisis is still making front page headline. Instead of being a dead and forgotten carcass, they're still there at the front burner of issues in Nigeria. Now, speaking to the crisis in PDP, we've all been about it. It is well publicized, well documented. It is no longer a hidden fact that there are factions in the PDP. The factions led by Wike, now Sam Anyanwu, who is the National Secretary of the party, suspended National Secretary of the party, by the faction led by Damagun, the National Chairman of the party, backed by the governors, ruling governors from the PDP. Now, it begins to tell you that when the higher-ups in a party are beginning to fight, at the end of the day, one asks, where is the grass that will suffer in all this? And PDP, though the elephant in itself is equally the grass, and by this, it begins to trickle down on Nigerians who lack representative opposition. But speaking to this issue is quite unfortunate and quite lack every manner of comprehension that the judiciary, held in higher esteem, are being dragged into this whole mess. It's quite unfortunate that the judiciary is being, involved in this mess. We are seeing orders and counter orders. And speaking to this fact now, you are quite aware that the Wike Anyanwu-led faction had gone to court, obtained a federal high court order at the court of Justice James Omotosho on 31st July, stopping the convention of the PDP slated for 15th to 16th of November, citing that the PDP should revert to the party constitution before embarking on this very convention. But against that judgment, we've seen the Damagun-led faction insisting that the convention would hold, that they are standing on the ruling of a Supreme Court judgment that places every party affairs to be resolved at the party as a party issue and not issue for litigation. Then it becomes very worrisome that Justice Omotosho of the Federal High Court and other lower courts are entering into a matter that's been designed by the Supreme Court as an affairs of the political party and should be resolved as an internal affair of that party. However, that's why I am worried, because the sacredness of the judiciary is no longer being respected by the various parties in question. If we are at a time where the judiciary is respected in Nigeria, an order of court will be respected and will be duly followed to see that such an order is set aside. But what do we have in Nigeria now? You get orders and counter orders. When these judges give an order, you go to another court and get a counter order. And in this case, we've seen an Ibadan High Court sitting to give an ex parte order mandating the chairman of the party to go ahead with the convention. This order that was instigated by a party chieftain talked about Fulahon Adelabi, who went to court. He went to the Federal High Court at Ibadan in Oyo to get an order restricting the chairman of the party from cancelling the slated convention of 16 15 and 16 of November. In this case, that faction will tell you that the hands of the chairman, the party is tied, that in respect to this court order, they will have to go ahead to hold the convention of the party as slated. And then more worrisome is that we are thinking that the court orders will be rested on these opposing court injunctions from the Federal High Court at Abuja and the Federal High Court and the High Court in Oyo. But this time around, we are seeing other orders. Talk about order coming from Justice Peter Lifao of the High Court again, an interim order on the order of a party chieftain. Talk about Sule Lamido, the former PDP governor of Jigawa State, an ex-senator who has gone to court this time around to stop the convention slated for 15th and 16th from holding. And what is his grounds? That he's been citing exclusion from obtaining the form of the party to participate in the convention and contest for the chairmanship position of this party. And it becomes more worrisome that when we are calling for these very factions to sit down, then it's as if that more issues are coming up. How do we reconcile these orders? And against this backdrop, the same court in Oyo State has extended that interim order, giving credence to what the Damagul-led faction is saying, that this order, this convention would go on to hold. And I listened to one of the the trustee members of the PDP yesterday saying that the convention would hold as planned, that they will go ahead with the convention. And Debbie, is more worrisome. We are thinking that all factions in the PDP at this time will sit down, find a way to resolve this crisis, bearing in mind that 2026 is here, and once we step into 26, it becomes, we'll now start stepping on the top gear in preparation for 2027 election. Yeah. PDP, are they telling me that their interest is not to field a candidate come 2027? And you cannot have a candidate in that party without a convention holding. Now, these two factions seems to have stuck to their guns. The Sam Anyanwu-led faction with their chairman Abraham are insisting that this convention will not hold, while the other faction are still insisted that they will go ahead with this convention. And I can tell you that if they go ahead with this convention, it will not be subject to litigation. At the end of the day, it will be bent on the court to interpret and decide which of the faction has pandered to the side of the law. And this is one of the things we are kicking against in Nigeria. We do not like or want a situation where the court continue to determine the outcome of our elections, the outcome of political events in Nigeria, where voters, for example, in Nigeria no longer have that requisite power to determine who leads them. Where we run after election, we'll go to court to go get orders and begin to probe electoral process. In as much as we want to continue to speak to the irregularities, the imperfections in our elections, we would want to see a situation where the people's votes count, where mandates are driven from the ballot box by the authority of the voters, and not where we now rely on interpretations from the courts to get leaders. And we'll continue to speak to that effect, but the political parties continue to give more energization to this trend where the court becomes the basis, the last basis for determination of our political journey in Nigeria. And this is quite worrisome. And then it becomes more worrisome that we'll continue to speak to this issue, because when you look at it, there's no viable opposition in Nigeria at this moment. And this is why every well-meaning Nigerians need to stand up and begin to speak to this issue. For me, at this point in time, it's no longer a party affair. It should be an affair for all concerned, right-thinking, patriotic Nigerians to see that this issue is resolved, and resolved quickly. And more worrisome is the fact that the PDP seems to lack the courage to begin to discipline its area members. Because you remember that we did say to speak to the fact that without PDP bringing disciplinary cane or disciplinary action on its area members for active party activities, that this crisis in PDP will not be resolved. And as the day goes by, we are increasingly and continuously justified for that position that we took on this very issue. The PDP need to come out categorically to begin to discipline its members. And the question is, why is PDP unable to discipline its members? What are the various interests in PDP. And this speaks to the fact that he who goes to equity must go to equity with clean hands. And I do not think that the various parties in PDP at this point in time, when I say parties, I mean the various factions, the Damagu-led faction and the Wike Sam Anyanwu-led faction. I do not think that they are, you know, in all this with clean hands. I think that they have a soiled hand, making it difficult for them to stand and speak courageously on issues. Some people must be disciplined for PDP to begin to rearrange and reorganize itself as party of repute. Then and only then can they move forward. Because when you see the challenges, the crisis in PDP, then it's not far-fetched that these are man-made issues, that when they jump one hurdle, another hurdle is set on the way. So let all parties, it's time for all parties to come together. Let all soiled hands be pushed aside. Let party men of integrity come forward and decide the future of this party. And I would want to call on the likes of Chief Bode George, who have been veterans in PDP, who have been fathers in PDP, that it's not time for them to take back seats. It's time for them to bring their experience to bear. Begin to persuade the likes of Wike, Sam Anyanwu, the Damagu-led fashion. Let everybody come together and have no holds-barred discussion on this matter to decipher a way forward. Then, because if you look at this, it may begin to give credence to the fact that some persons within the party do not want PDP to have a candidate come 2027. It can no longer be an illusion, because we are seeing the hands here. We are seeing the obvious hands here. It's no longer a question of the voice of Jacob or the voice of Esau, the hand of Jacob here. No, everything is being led by. We are now knowing who stands where they stand. So it's time, the fathers of the PDP, it's time for them to step in on the path of sincerity, on the path of courage and boldness, and begin to discipline their members. And I can tell you, without discipline, we would think that we surmounted this very hurdle. Then you begin to see another challenge. And as at this point in time, I have full doubt with this convention, if this convention does eventually hold in how many days' time? Less than 3 days' time we're talking about. If this convention does hold, one does not know the legality of this very convention, what will come out of it. Because the Sam Anyanwu-led faction has insisted that that convention, in respect to court orders, cannot hold. And one begins to wonder where PDP will begin to legally extricate itself from whatever results that emanates from this very convention. I dare call on the PDP governors, on the, like I did, the PDP founding fathers who are still available, and all patriotic Nigerians, that it's time for all hands to be on deck to salvage the PDP, not for the sake of PDP, but for the sake of the Nigerian masses who desire a very viable opposition. Because at this point in Nigerian trajectory, it's quite unfortunate when we want to side with those who think that Nigeria is tilting towards a one-party state. There is no viable opposition, and these conflicting court orders at this moment is not helping matters. I think that the Nigerian Judicial Council should equally bring in their own, have a training and retraining, where let the judiciary be able to take a common front on issues like this, without talking about restricting the right of judges to rule on issues on their merit. But what is happening is beginning to cast aspersion on the integrity of our judiciary, and that should not be allowed to stand.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much for that. Now we'll be moving over to our next paper, coming from the Punch headline that says ex-generals fume as federal government orders probe. And now this headline centers on a public clash involving the Nyesom Wike-led Federal Capital Territory FCT administration and a naval officer over a land dispute. Several former military generals have expressed outrage in response. The federal government of Nigeria has ordered a formal probe by the Ministry of Defense to investigate what happened. And this incident raises questions about civil-military relations and how elite disputes over land are handled. The probe could set a precedent for how such confrontations are managed publicly. we can see an online trending video. This newspaper is actually referring to the video that has been trending recently between the federal FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and a naval officer during a land dispute, where we could see some banter of words, and the federal minister, FCT minister, Nyesom Wike throwing insults at the naval officer. And now this headline is trying to is focusing on ex-general's fume as federal government orders probe. Mr. Uche, I would like to know your take on this headline.
All right, you know, that video really is quite disheartening, being that it's beginning to expose the malaise in our society, the decay in our society. It's quite worrisome that such video was meant to go public, where a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on enforcing, yes, some have argued within his right to enforce orders around the FCT, and then standing there to, you know, have an altercation with a military man who is in uniform is worrisome and does not, you know, encourage or in any way would encourage people or Nigerians towards patriotism, because people are beginning to question the patriotism of the minister himself in this issue. But more worrisome now is that this is beginning to become an issue in Nigeria. To invite you to take a look at what we do.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
That's
matter.
all that matters. I'm an offside, take to orders.
So what? You had a who than me.
So I'm an offside, take to orders.
No, that you tell you
Of
the
a
order.
3-star general.
Okay.
I can't say no. That was
You can never develop this property. I will not allow it.
No problem, sir.
You are
I'm only acting on my
if
orders.
you want to
as
kill
an
everybody,
officer.
kill everybody.
We will not kill
You
anybody,
cannot.
sir. We will not. We will not kill anybody, sir.
You put yourself in trouble.
We will not.
My friend, you see,
what is that? You cannot touch me off. Look at you. You cannot touch me off. You are my junior. You cannot even talk when I'm talking. Because I'm. You're only that way. I'll be talking and policemen will be talking.
Hey, you are taking with us. You don't have any business. I'm not to carry security to intimidate because you're an officer. Nobody does that.
We did not carry anybody.
The man took this and we will not allow because he was chief of numbers and then you to carry land.
Sir, everything was acquired legally.
Will you stop
and so
that?
you get the
Will you stop that?
Sir, I'm an officer, I have integrity.
Shut up, your mouth, put
Sir, I
yourself.
will not shut up.
Will you get out?
Sir, I won't shut up. Sir, I'm a
I
police
was in
officer.
school, you're not in school.
Sir, you can't shut
Will
me
you
up.
keep quiet?
You can't
Get
shut
me a
me
big
up, sir.
food.
I'm not a
You are a
fool.
big fool.
I'm not a fool,
You
sir.
can shoot anybody like that.
Sir, I'm not
You
a
are big
fool.
fool. Are you?
I am not a fool, sir.
As at the time I
Don't call me a
graduated,
fool.
you were in primary school.
I'm acting on orders.
Take for
You
which
can't
order?
call me a fool.
You will see whether you love it here.
Sir, you can't call me a fool.
Go
I'm
and develop your
I'm an
go and
officer.
develop
I'm not a fool, sir.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
an
with you.
officer.
I'm so corrupt. You will have killed everybody here.
No, we won't kill anybody. We won't kill anybody.
All right, well, that was the video. Now let's take a look at what some commenters on the street has to say concerning this dispute between the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and the naval officer.
The Nigerians, a recent viral video of a politician confronting a security officer who stood his ground. We're on the street today to hear what Nigerians think about this incident.
No, it's quite not common because, you know,
Most security agencies, perhaps do the biddings of the government, and that was I didn't really quite hear enough of the things he said, but the fact that he stood his rights was, quite commendable. I was standing his grounds based on his opinion. I do not think it's offensive in any way, because just the same way you are interviewing me today, I can also I'm talking about something and I feel like this is my opinion. Another person could have a different opinion. So yes, that's what I feel.
Well, I felt that the officer is on his right. And moreover, if you go by the law, the only person, that officer, who can give that very officer an order is the president. The least ranking in the army, even the Senate president doesn't have right to order him. So Wike coming at that very point and saw an officer of Federal Republic of Nigeria and instructing him is the most wrong thing, is one of the wrong things he ever did of his life.
Yeah, well, I think he was smart. I thought he was, it was a contrast. You see, the minister was yelling, and then the younger guy was like, retorting back, sort of, and just to make sure that I'm not the person you think I am. And I think it's because he's from a structured background, so it's not easy for him to be that intimidated. So yeah, but it's a Nigerian culture thing. We do not respect younger people.
Well, it's embarrassing, to say the least. It's embarrassing because you don't expect such a figure like Wike, like the minister of FCT, to say such the words he used. There are other avenues he would have approached. He would have used to settle the incident. I think for me, he would have just walked away.
It's not common, because especially youths are always afraid of all these people, politicians, you get. So that is why when some persons saw the video, like, they were so happy. Even I was chatting with my friend, she was like the way the joy when she was saying it, that army officer challenged me. I was like, wow. So a youth can also challenge someone in that position. So I think it's not that common, because people are always afraid of all these politicians.
I felt happy. I was glad. But I love his courage. He spoke to him in a respectful manner. I love how he accepts the fact that he's not foolish. Sometimes all these, should I say politicians, or all these people that is rich, maybe they think they are too right, that maybe somebody that they are bigger than, that the person cannot speak. No, they think they can suppress people, oppress people anyhow, but it's not done that way. I love how the guy reacted. If we can have that kind of guy 10 or 20 in this Nigeria, or more,
all right, that's very, heartwarming, coming from people from the city. You could see the reaction from the streets. And then, now that the ex-generals are fuming about the issue and the federal government have that probe on as a result of this issue, we do not know what or how this probe will come out. But what we would categorically say in this issue, that whatever probe that has been ordered should be very fair and open-minded in whatever recommendations they will give at the day. However, when one look at the position of the Minister of Defense, given that ex-generals are beginning to speak up on this very matter, you will see that one is consoled when the Minister of Defense, in complimenting this young officer for being disciplined, demonstrating that he is a well-disciplined, well-trained officer during this altercation. He maintained his composure throughout the time, represented the Nigerian military very well. And if one continues to align with the position of the generals who have come out, for example, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, who was former CAS, Chief of Army Staff, has come out publicly to say that Wike, in this case, should apologize to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. And who is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces? That's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that Wike, by standing before the uniformed officer to insult him, has insulted the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and as well should render apology to the armed forces, because according to them, that would lead to demoralization of other personnel, and that should not be condoned. That we can, knowing that what that soldier represents as at that point in time is not, he's not standing there on his own. That since he is standing on order, he represents the orders of the commander-in-chief, and that they've complimented this young man for standing on order. What the minister should have done at this point in time, we are not saying that the minister is totally wrong for wanting to enforce orders, but how he has gone about it, being the minister of FCT, we know that this is about a landing dispute where we were told that the retired naval officer, you're talking about Zubaru Gabau, that he obtained the land illegally, not possessing the requisite documents for this land. What Wike would have done is, first of all, perhaps he should have written to the Ministry of Defense, who would in turn invite this retired general. They have a way of, you know, the processes in the military where this man will be invited and due orders will be followed in resolving this matter. And the minister equally has the court at his disposal. He will have approached the court, gotten an order restricting the military and the officers from access to that land, and that will have, you know, somehow curtailed what we witness. And more generals, you know, coming out to speak, you know, talk about people like retired General Peter Arrow in this matter. He's continuing to say that this shows you how power should be wielded and how power should not be wielded in a democracy. A lot of military officers, retired and present military officers, continue to speak to this very issue. But the point here is that every Nigerian has stood up to speak in congratulatory message or congratulatory tone to the young officer for maintaining his composure, not letting things go beyond the level that we witness. While we commend the federal government for setting up this probe, they should see to it that the probe is fair-minded. At the end of the day, let the due thing be done. Let the due process be followed in whatever recommendation they come out with. And we should not encourage things like this. The minister has at his disposal, at the red dial of the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru, who have resolved these issues without this level of altercation that we witness. And on that note, we will call on all our leaders who wield authority that they should refrain from such acts. When you're wielding authority, you should be, you know, discipline on your part on how you wield authority, especially in front of subordinates where the masses are involved, because issues like this, without mincing word, may go a long way, you know, in demoralizing our uniformed men, our security forces. And this issue like this should not be allowed to repeat itself. And in this instance, we'll commend the Minister of Defense for coming to the defense of this young officer who at that point was only sticking to his orders. Without much being said, we would encourage the federal government as they go ahead with this probe, but let this probe be in such a way to deter other political office holders, other leaders, as a way of, you know, training and retraining them on where their limits are, where they should not overstep. In this case, it's so worrisome that we are beginning to see such in the public domain, and it should not be. And when you hear the people's opinion from the street, you see that people are not quite keen for such an event, and we should discourage it in any way possible.
All right, thank you very much for that. Now, lastly, we're taking a look at the last paper for today, coming from the Guardian headline that says, NG insists on free press as Tinubu urges fairness, pledges recovery. And in another media-related story, the NGE reiterated its call for press freedom, while President Tinubu emphasized the need for the press to operate fairly, responsibly, and in a manner that strengthens democracy. During the 21st All Nigeria Editors Conference in Abuja, Tinubu praised the media's historic role and committed to restoring economic stability for Nigeria's press, noting that freedom must go hand in hand with accountability. Mr. Ocha, I would like to know your thoughts.
All right. When I saw this headline, and then having watched the videos from this very conference of the 21st All Editors Conference of the Nigerian Guild of Editors held at the State House, I was so excited that I saw Nigerian editors who went to the State House, not cap in hand to solicit or beg for money or for fund. But when you look at the deliberations at the conference, you will be encouraged that this nation have men and women who care about this nation, who care about this profession and the media in Nigeria. And like the president of the GID did state in his speech, talking about Eze Anamba, he said that without journalism, the people cannot be informed. And when you have uninformed citizens, that democracy will be weakened. And to that, we commend the editors for being forthright when they are at the State House to, rather than begging the president for, for funds, for money, they went in there, stated the position of Nigeria and the status of the media in Nigeria. One will remember that the media is out to make a profit, and given the economic situation in Nigeria, that may be very, very difficult for them. What were they asking for? They asked the president for 5 to 10 years corporate tax relief, and then they equally asked that VAT be, there has to be tax return for corporations that advertise with registered media houses in Nigeria, and then for that's talking about tax credit as well, and then for SME loans for media startups from the Bank of Industries. And this is quite encouraging, because if the media has access to such opportunities, when you talk about tax credits and then a 5 to 10 years tax relief, that would make the media houses to show up, be strong, in order to, first of all, be able to pay salary, be able to afford the needed equipment to strengthen their operations. Media equally is there to make money, and at the end of the day, what matters is when you're stable, you will be fair-minded in your reports, in whatever you give out, and then it becomes more encouraging, listening to the president extolling the press as being the watchdog of the country, but reminding them that they should be very fair-minded in their reporting, that they should see to it that all information that they dish out should be verified, because whatever they write, what they say, stands a chance, of derailing democracy. And whatever that the press in Nigeria are dishing out, they should see to it, no matter how they criticize the government, they should see to it that the national unity of Nigeria, which is sacrosanct, is not affected by their writings or whatever they package for the media. They can criticize the government, but they should be fair-minded in all that. And given, the trajectory of the Nigerian press, the Nigerian media in Nigeria, one cannot only but be encouraged when you watch what they've passed through. The other time we were talking about the press in Nigeria from inception to the challenges they face under the military, operating under tight schedule, under tight security, not being free. Some of them operated from hiding. Even the president can attest to that, because we know that he was a member of NADECO. So when you look at the engagement at the conference, it becomes more encouraging that, yes, the press in Nigeria, who are the fourth, they are kind of the fourth estate, they are the fourth estate of the rim, are here to stay, and they will continue to do their job. They will do it with all fair-mindedness, and we encourage the president for having pledged to look into their request of tax relief and instituting loans for startups in the industry. This will go a long way to make sure that we have a very solid media in Nigeria, because without the media in Nigeria, without a solid media, the democracy may begin to tilt towards authoritarianism, and that will not be allowed. Yes, this is quite celebratory and is quite encouraging for democracy in Nigeria, and we pray and we hope that the Guild of Editors will continue to toe this line of action where they are not non-partisan, where they do not cow to government in power, but have placed a very meaningful demand before government that will see that the media in Nigeria is sustained beyond the economic challenges that Nigeria is facing at this point in time. And I will align in the words of the president that, yes, in executing their role as the watchdog in Nigeria, they should be fair-minded. They should see that all issues are verified before being dished out to the public.
All right, thank you very much for that. And now that is all for today's newspaper review. And don't forget that you can grab your physical copies from any of your favorite vendor or catch the e-paper online. And now we'll be taking a look at a trending story, not a trending story, but rather an information coming from NAFDAC. And in NAFDAC, it says the NAFDAC has reaffirmed its commitment to fully enforce the ban on the production and sale of alcohol beverages in sachets and small bottles from below 200 ml by December 2025. NAFDAC has banned the production of beverages in small sachets and bottles due to concerns about drug abuse, particularly among young Nigerians. And we've taken a look at the letter press release from NAFDAC dated 11th November 2025. And in the letter it says, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has reaffirmed its unwavering commitment to fully enforce the ban on the production and sale of alcoholic beverages in sachets and small volume PET or glass bottles below 200 ml by December 2025, in compliance with the recent directive of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And decisive action supported by the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare reinforces NAFDAC's mandate to safeguard public health and protect vulnerable groups, particularly children, adolescents and young adults, from harmful alcohol consumption. In 2018, NAFDAC, the Federal Ministry of Health and the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, signed a 5-year memorandum of understanding with the Association of Food, Beverage and Tobacco Employers. And also, this ban is not punitive, it is protective. It is aimed at safeguarding the health and future of our children and youth. The decision is rooted in scientific evidence and public health considerations. We cannot continue to sacrifice the well-being of Nigerians for short-term economic gain. The health of a nation is its true wealth. So NAFDAC reiterates that only spirit drinks packaged in sachets and small volume bottles below 200 ml are affected by this regulation. Now, the agency urges all manufacturers, distributors and retailers to comply fully, as no further extension will be granted beyond December 2025. Now, NAFDAC will continue to collaborate with the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, the FCCPC and National Rotation Agency to intensify nationwide sensitization campaigns on health and social dangers of alcohol misuse. Now, this information is coming from NAFDAC themselves about the ban on sachet or bottle alcohols, and to protect young children, adolescents, not only young children and adolescents, but rather to protect the health of Nigerians. Mr. Ucha, I would like to know your thoughts on this.
Okay, this is quite commendable, and more commendable that this time around the NAFDAC is not waiting the authorities unilaterally. They've given the manufacturers of these very products time to begin to, arrange themselves, knowing that these products size are being outlawed. And then when you go to the reason they've cited for this very action, it becomes more commendable that NAFDAC, yes, we can say NAFDAC in this particular injunction is right and are working for the benefit of Nigerians. What are the reasons? They say to protect public health, particularly among children, adolescents and young adults from harmful effects of alcohol abuse. And then when you look at it, these very products we are talking about, about the sachets, when you have alcohol in sachets and the mineral bottles and other beverages, these are subject to abuse. Beyond abuse, what about, are we speaking to fake products in Nigeria as well? These are the most faked products in Nigeria. And talking about alcohol in particular, I would remember when NAFDAC took a drive of the markets, you understand, where alcoholic beverages are sold in Nigeria, you would see the report coming out that there were a lot of fake products. And I've interacted with medical practitioners trying to ask what is the reason for the high rate of kidney issues that we have, liver damages that we have in Nigeria. And more often, you see them link these actions to the intake and consumption of these beverages, these alcoholic drinks, because it's more worrisome that you're seeing kidney and liver failures in young adults we used to see this, notice such issues with adults, but now you see adolescents, you see children with issues like this, and it becomes more worrisome. NAFDAC cannot be more commended for this action, but our prayer is that this should not just end as publication, that order should be carried out to the letter, since it is about safeguarding the health of the nation. We should not be more prone to the economic benefits of having these products available in this size. We should take such products out of the reach of children, young adolescents, and young adults. They should not have access to that. You know, if you go to some places, some countries, if you're not up to 18, you don't have access to alcoholic beverages in such places. And that is, you know, in order to curtail abuse. And this should be encouraged. And for one, I celebrate NAFDA for this bold step. This should be encouraged, and the process of implementing this should not be abused. When they say they mean it, let them mean it, and let's phase this out. If we have seen it as a source of public health worry in Nigeria, let it be phased out completely. Let them be holistic in implementation, not where you implement haphazardly in the north, and then you come for total implementation in the east. No, throughout Nigeria, let the implementation be simultaneously carried out and be carried out to the letter. And kudos to NAFDAC for this.
All right, thank you very much for that. Now, like you rightfully said, this information was posted by NAFDAC on the 11th November 2025, and for everyone watching, just note that by the end of this year, December 2025 is the last date that will be given to sell sachets alcohol or beverages. All right, now before we call it a day, before we draw the curtain, I would like to remind us of our celebration for today, which is the World Kindness Day. And every year, November 13th is globally celebrated as World Kindness Day, a day dedicated to promoting kindness, compassion, and empathy among people of all nations and backgrounds. And this day was established in 1998 by the World Kindness Movement. This observance serves as a reminder that simple acts of kindness, no matter how small, can make the world a better and more peaceful place for everyone. And the aim of this day, of World Kindness Day, is to encourage individuals, communities, and nations to perform acts of kindness that bridge gaps between people regardless of race, religion, politics, or background. And it also highlights the idea that kindness is a universal human value that can build stronger social connections and foster harmony. According to the World Kindness Movement, kindness has the power to create a culture of compassion, reduce conflict, and promote mutual respect. When kindness is shared, it multiplies, spreading positivity, emotional well-being, and cooperation in homes, school, workplace, and communities. I know we all know what kindness is all about, and what kindness actually is an act of love, is an act of showing someone compassion, showing someone being of good help with someone or anybody around you. Now, as you go on today, as you go about your day, do not forget to show one or two persons kindness, and let it not just be because today is kindness, World Kindness Day, that we'll have to just celebrate it today. No, that's the reason for making this day by the World Kindness Movement is for us to always celebrate this day, each day of our lives, by showing people kindness, being kind to one another, like we said yesterday in our quote, where it says kindness is what will bring value to you. If you're being kind, if you are showing acts of kindness, you can show acts of kindness through your emotions, through just simply be present or just listening to someone. It's an act of kindness, actually, not by giving the person a certain amount of money, but your daily activity, your daily treatment to people actually is what is going to, in fact, it's a brand that you're giving yourself, a new definition of what you're giving yourself and what you want people to use in remembering you. So as we go about today, let us celebrate this day by showing anyone around us a little bit of kindness. All right, and please let us know what you're celebrating wherever you are. You can follow or tag us across our social media feeds in Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all at Aneke TV, or call our phone number 070 30437110. And it's a wrap on today's edition of Sunrise. It's always a pleasure having you here. I am Deborah Wakuba.
And I'm Uche Osai. Remember, you're not here to be average. Be unique. Keep watching Aneke TV till come your way same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.
History was made in Enugu State as Governor Peter Mbah officially joined the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC), marking a major political shift in the state. Speaking at Enugu South, the council chairman, Right Honorable Dr. Kele Ebane, said the council has agreed to stand with the governor as he moved from the People's Democratic Party (PDP) to the APC. He described the move as a step towards aligning with the national leadership for the progress of Enugu people.
In aligning ourselves with the policies and the principles of the state, we have found it worthy that we should address our followers, our party members today, that we are taking that very bold step. Note that nothing have spoiled. What we are doing is something that will give us that very platform to continue to serve our people better. And that is connecting Enugu State, Enugu South to the center. We can no longer play an opposition politics again. That was the reason why we are moving today to APC.
The ceremony shifted to Okpara Square, where massive supporters filled the venue wearing APC branded shirts and caps, waving their brooms in excitement. There was music, dancing, and a strong sense of unity as party members and residents turned out in large numbers to welcome the governor. In a speech, the Speaker, House of Representatives, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, said the APC's presence in Enugu State signaled a new beginning for the Southeast, while the President of the Senate, Chief Godswill Akpabio, commended Governor Mbah for his performance and said it was only right for him to join a progressive team.
Enugu is the heartbeat of the southeastern Nigeria. Is it true? When we have Enugu, are we not having Southeast as a whole? Are we going to do that? Thank you very much.
A man that is transforming, a man that is performing, should belong to the progressive family. So if I say Peter Mbah, you say progressive. Peter Mbah, progressive. Peter Mbah, progressive.
The former governor of Enugu State, Barrister Sullivan Chime, thanked President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for welcoming Governor Peter Mbah into the APC family and called it a move that would strengthen the state politically.
I want to say on behalf of the entire Enugu State, a very big thank you to our distinguished visitors. Thank you so much for coming here. Thank you so much for being here to honor and receive our governor into our fold.
For the executive governor of Enugu State, Dr. Peter Mbah, his decision to join APC was a collective one made in the best interest of the people.
APC! APC! Ndi Enugu kwenu! Ndi Igbo kwenu! Ndi Southeast kwezonu! Today begins a march from the margins. It marks an end of being on the sideline. Today
We are coming together as the Southeast to put an end to fragmented politics.
Representing the President, Vice President Kashim Shettima praised Ndibo for their resilience and contribution to the nation. He declared Governor Peter Mba the new leader of APC in Enugu State.
I believe Ndibo have come to the mainstream of Nigerian politics. I want to warmly welcome you to the APC. And as for the APC convention and constitution, the governor is the leader of the party in the state. Your Excellency, you are now the leader of the APC family in Enugu State.
Again, the event was attended by several prominent figures, including Senator Ken Nnamani, Senator Uche Ekunife, Prince Nicholas Okachuku, and others. The high point of the day was the official presentation of the APC flag to Governor Peter Mba by the party's national chairman, Dr. Nentawe Yewada.
Aneke TV.
Aqua, water. Water is life. Ancient, sacred, pure. It remembers creation and carries cleansing. It can be calm, or it can rage, but it always moves. Aqua teaches us to be soft yet strong, to adapt yet remain, to flow around obstacles yet shape even the hardest stone. We came from water. We need water, and sometimes, when words fail and hearts break, only water, falling from our eyes or washing over our skin, can heal what language cannot. The soul is part of us that survives every storm. You can't see it, but you can feel it in silence, in longing, in every heartbeat that keeps going. It asks for more than food and fame. It hungers for meaning, for stillness, for the divine. The soul is where music is born, where peace begins, where truth hides. To care for your soul is the greatest act of self-love. For in the end, what we were fades, but what we are at our core remains.
Hotel proprietors in Enugu State, under the incorporated trustees of the Coast City Hotel Owners Welfare Association, have raised alarm over the continued selling of their business premises by the Enugu State government. The hotelers alleged that officials of the Enugu State Board of Internal Revenue have been shutting down hotels across the state over purchase tax and other levies, with guests, including foreigners, reportedly locked inside during enforcement. Over 100 hotels are said to have been affected. Counsel to the association, Barrister Chijioke Eze, told newsmen that the group has approached the Federal High Court in Enugu seeking judicial interpretation of the laws on value-added tax and purchase tax. He stressed that while the matter is before the court, the government should allow due process to take its course and suspend further enforcement. Barrister clarified that the hotel owners are not evading taxes, but are concerned about double taxation, as both federal and state authorities allegedly impose similar levies on the same items.
We are here to state the position of incorporated trustees of Coast City Hotel Owners Welfare Association over the recent happenings in Enugu State on the particular issue. The issue here was that in recent times there is what I may call a demand for the payment of purchase tax by the government, and equally land use charge. And we were briefed to approach the courts, that is the Federal High Court, by virtue of Section 251, Sub 1, Paragraph E of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Federal High Court has the exclusive jurisdiction over matters on taxation. So we were briefed to approach the court to interpret relevant provisions of the laws relating to purchase tax. So based on that, we filed a suit number FHC/E/CS/308/2025, wherein we commenced an action by originating summons seeking interpretation of relevant provisions of the law, especially the VAT Act, Value Added Tax Act, which gave the federal government the right to collect or receive purchase tax through the Federal Inland Revenue. Because there is this law passed by the Enugu State House of Assembly, that's the finance law of Enugu State, which equally gives the Enugu State Board of Tax Revenue the right to collect the same purchase tax on consumables in the states. And we are saying, or we perceive that as tantamounting to double taxation.
Chairman of the association, Dr. Johnson Ugwoke, described the clampdown as excessive and harmful to the state's investment climate. He emphasized that hotels remain major employers of labor and contributors to Enugu's internally generated revenue. Dr. Ugwoke urged the government to await the court verdict, warning that locking guests and foreign visitors inside hotels during enforcement sends a wrong message to investors and the international community.
Hotel Owners Welfare Association is an association, a body of hotel owners in Enugu State here. We are investors in the state. We mean well for the state. Hotel owners, besides the state government, are the second largest employers of labor here. Our investment is huge here. In the same vein, like he said, we are law-abiding citizens. And as such, we expect that all our members will do the right thing by paying the relevant taxes, levies to the government, which most of us, if not all of us, have done so. But there are gray areas. The recent introduction of this purchase tax and the way and manner it's being, will I say, enforced, so to speak, is what is making us ask not just the public to hear us, but also the government to come in and redress this situation.
Also speaking, Chairman of the Society for Tourism Practitioners in Enugu State, Mr. Chidi Uchendo, recounted how he was denied access to the new EFCC director in Enugu when he went to address legal documents served on some hotel owners. He appealed for improved dialogue between government agencies and stakeholders to prevent unnecessary confrontation and safeguard the state's tourism image.
When I was with the EFCC people, we know what's going on now with EFCC. I was talking with their main person there, although they have changed another director to another director. So the new director, I wanted to see him. They said, no, I can't see him now, for now. And then the man who is there that blocked everywhere, Mr. Promise, is now going to the hotel, giving them some bills, 1.something million, 2 million, 3 million to pay.
Reacting to the allegations, a source within the Enugu State Board of Internal Revenue dismissed them as politically motivated. The source maintained that all taxes imposed are duly outlined in the state's consolidated tax notice and backed by law, urging the media to always verify claims before publication. Chidimi Kemede, Aneke TV. And we are on the street today to find out what Nigerians think about some trending issues in the society. Please join us as they share their thoughts.
First of all, I'm not passionate about leaving the country per se, like the jackpot thing. For me, I want to actually stay in this country and then build myself. If I should go outside the country, it should be for vacation and to come back. So I'm not really interested in the illegal parts, or whether it is legal or illegal. I'm not really interested.
I just want to be free. I like freedom. I like comfort. So if I'm leaving, I want it to be legal.
Human trafficking in Nigeria is not something we hear about every day, but then we know it's happening. So, but we don't hear about measures they take to curb this thing happening in the country. I don't necessarily have to say they are doing very well, but from the news, we don't hear things where we don't hear things like them getting curbing it, or maybe them busting out these human traffickers. We don't hear things like, okay, so number of persons were caught trafficking and then they have been jailed or an action has been taken against them. We don't hear these things, so we don't know if they're actually doing enough. So we'd actually urge them to do these things, and when they do it, they have to like let the public know that, okay, we as a government, we are fighting human trafficking.
When you talk about human traffickers are talking about exchanging of, that is sending our young ones outside for personal purposes and personal profits. Well, what I will actually say is because the way this country is something that's now, because the first thing that the government need to do is have to fish out those who are involved in it, and I know they are doing it. Now, one benefit I know as a computer scientist or as a computer engineer is making use of what these are AI to fish out them. If they can improve on that technology, I believe they can easily be able to track out those who are involved in it. And once they are able to track out those involved in it, then those who are involved should face the persecution, should face the law. What the law says about it, then they should be able to face it. By the time they face it, I believe things like this will reduce. So my advice to the government is for them to improve their technology and how to track this thing. But for now, for me as a scientist, Nigeria is really lacking behind in terms of improvement of technology. That's what I actually want them to improve on. Nigeria is actually lacking behind in terms of technology. By the time they improve in technology, I believe tracking of this human trafficking will be very easy for Nigerians to do.
For human traffickers, I feel like there should be a capital punishment because no one deserves to be trafficked, and it's actually a very, very serious offense.
It's something the government should take into consideration. It's not something we hear about all the time, yeah, but then it's something that still happens, and it still happens in many places, but then we don't really hear about it that much. So the government should actually do something or take any measure to curb human trafficking.
I don't really care about that. I feel like everybody should mind their business. It's their marriage and it's their life. There's a reason why Regina Daniels, is coming out to everybody to complain. Probably she's too scared to face it, out in her marriage. You understand? Because I heard that she was domestically abused. So that can traumatize her to do anything. So she's not seeking help from outside people. Nonetheless, anyone that works for them.
I don't think it's over. I think it's just hitting a rough patch. Yeah. Because, as they say, you cannot get in between two lovers. As she said in her recent post that she married him out of that, she fell in love with him. So,
I am Chidimi Kemede, Aneke TV.
The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise. The tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the bold mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter whose ox is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices, uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on The Insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us.
The November edition of Nkata Umuibe, held at the Center for Memories in Enugu, examined the state of human rights in Igbo land under the theme Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ. Guest speaker and human rights advocate Mr. Larry Ogwego emphasized the interdependence between people and community, likening it to that of water and fish. He traced the concept of human rights in Igbo society to pre-colonial traditions of justice and fairness, and decried ongoing abuses by security agencies and government institutions.
When we talk about interrogate, we are talking about asking serious questions, asking questions aggressively about the state of human rights in Ali. But before that question of the state of human rights in Ali, there's a very interesting statement, a very interesting philosophical statement in Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ. So that statement speaks to the fact that without the understanding of Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ, you may not even fully appreciate what we are going to be talking about. Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ speaks about the fact that there is no way you can make progress in a society if you do not recognize interdependence. Mmiri actually accommodates the azu, the water accommodates the fish. Without the water, the fish will not survive. But guess what? Without the fish, the water will lose part of its relevance. As a matter of fact, in several riverine areas, what takes people to the water is the fish. So if you remove the fish from the water, people may not even know the water is there. Besides being a means of moving from one point to another, one major reason people go to the water is to get fish. So there is this interdependence between Mmiri and Azu, between the water and the fish. While the water looks like it's more important because it accommodates the fish, if you remove the fish, the water loses a large part of its relevance. And that is what we are looking at today, Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ, which speaks to different aspects of Igbo philosophy. Ewe bere, ugo bere, okata na akpa dipe, madi biaru no kono nogo, biri kambiri. All of these expressions speak to one fact, that we have to learn how to coexist peacefully to the benefit of all of us. So when you get that background, it lays a foundation for the conversation about the state of human rights in our Igbo.
Mr. Ogwego urged Ndi Igbo to revive communal values and use their strength to protect the vulnerable. The session, moderated by Mavis Norma, called on learning institutions to champion the restoration of human rights and dignity across our Igbo. Chidimi Kemede, Aneke TV.
The Arena with Chris Anibogo is the platform where we meet to take critical analysis of burning and topical issues and matters in the society as to proper solutions on making the society better.
You came into office, you locked the door to everybody. Nobody can even access you. You don't even play the politics.
Month in, month out, year in, year out. So where is the money going to? Where's the resources?
Whenever the economy is in a shambles, you find the government embracing pro-people policy to assuage the harsh economic reality.
It was used to settle political interest, and Nigerians were paying dearly for it.
Tune in to the Arena with Chris Anibogo every Monday through Thursday by 1 p.m. only on Aneke TV. Join us.
History was made in Enugu State as Governor Peter Mbah officially joined the ruling All Progressive Congress APC, marking a major political shift in the state. Speaking at Enugu South, the council chairman, Right Honorable Dr. Kele Ebane, said the council has agreed to stand with the governor as he moved from the People's Democratic Party PDP to the APC. He described the move as a step towards aligning with the national leadership for the progress of Enugu people.
In aligning ourselves with the policies and the principles of the state, we have found it worthy that we should address our followers, our party members today, that we are taking that very bold step. Note that nothing have spoiled. What we are doing is something that will give us that very platform to continue to serve our people better. And the fact is, connecting Enugu State, Enugu South to the center. We can no longer play an opposition politics again. That was the reason why we are moving today to APC.
The ceremony shifted to Okpara Square, where massive supporters filled the venue wearing APC branded shirts and caps, waving their brooms in excitement. There was music, dancing, and a strong sense of unity as party members and residents turned out in large numbers to welcome the governor. In a speech, the Speaker, House of Representatives, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, said the APC's presence in Enugu State signaled a new beginning for the Southeast, while the President of the Senate, Chief Godswill Akpabio, commended Governor Mba for his performance and said it was only right for him to join a progressive team.
Enugu is the heartbeat of the southeastern Nigeria. Is it true? When we have Enugu, are we not having Southeast as a whole? Are we going to do that? Thank you very much. A man that is transforming, a man that is performing, should belong to the progressive family. So if I say Pitamba, you say progressive. Pitamba, progressive. Pitamba, progressive.
The former governor of Enugu State, Barrister Sullivan Chime, thanked President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for welcoming Governor Peter Mba into the APC family and called it a move that would strengthen the state politically.
I want to say on behalf of the entire Enugu State, a very big thank you to our distinguished visitors. Thank you so much for coming here. Thank you so much for being here to honor and receive our governor into our fold.
For the executive governor of Enugu State, Dr. Peter Mba, his decision to join APC was a collective one made in the best interest of the people.
APC! APC! Ndị Enugu kwenu! Ndị Igbo kwenu! Ndị Southeast kwezonu! Today begins a march from the margins. It marks an end of being on the sideline. Today, we are coming together as the Southeast to put an end to fragmented politics.
Representing the President, Vice President Kashim Shettima praised Ndi Igbo for their resilience and contribution to the nation. He declared Governor Peter Mba the new leader of APC in Enugu State.
I believe Ndi Igbo have come to the mainstream of Nigerian politics. I want to warmly welcome you to the APC. And as far as the APC convention and constitution, the governor is the leader of the party in the state. Your Excellency, you are now the leader of the APC family in Enugu State.
Again, the event was attended by several prominent figures, including Senator Ken Nnamani, Senator Uche Ekunife, Prince Nicholas Okachuku, and others. The high point of the day was the official presentation of the APC flag to Governor Peter Mba by the party's national chairman, Dr. Nentawe Yewada.
Aneke TV.
Aqua, water. Water is life. Ancient, sacred, pure. It remembers creation and carries cleansing. It can be calm, or it can rage, but it always moves. Aqua teaches us to be soft yet strong, to adapt yet remain, to flow around obstacles yet shape even the hardest stone. We came from water. We need water, and sometimes, when words fail and hearts break, only water, falling from our eyes or washing over our skin, can heal what language cannot. The soul is part of us that survives every storm. You can't see it, but you can feel it in silence, in longing, in every heartbeat that keeps going. It asks for more than food and fame. It hungers for meaning, for stillness, for the divine. The soul is where music is born, where peace begins, where truth hides. To care for your soul is the greatest act of self-love. For in the end, what we were fades, but what we are at our core remains.
Hotel proprietors in Enugu State, under the incorporated trustees of the Coast City Hotel Owners Welfare Association, have raised alarm over the continued stealing of their business premises by the Enugu State government. The hotelers alleged that officials of the Enugu State Board of Internal Revenue have been shutting down hotels across the state over purchase tax and other levies, with guests including foreigners reportedly locked inside during enforcement. Over 100 hotels are said to have been affected. Counsel to the association, Barrister Chijioke Eze, told newsmen that the group has approached the Federal High Court in Enugu seeking judicial interpretation of the laws on value added tax and purchase tax. He stressed that while the matter is before the court, the government should allow due process to take its course and suspend further enforcement. Barrister clarified that the hotel owners are not evading taxes but are concerned about double taxation, as both federal and state authorities allegedly impose similar levies on the same items.
We are here to state the position of incorporated trustees of Coast City Hotel Owners Welfare Association over the recent happenings in Enugu State on the particular issue. The issue here was that in recent times there is what I may call a demand for the payment of purchase tax by the government and equally land use charge. And we were briefed to approach the court, that is the Federal High Court, by virtue of Section 251, Sub 1, Paragraph E of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Federal High Court has the exclusive jurisdiction over matters on taxation. So we were briefed to approach the court to interpret relevant provisions of the laws relating to purchase tax. So based on that, we filed a suit number FHC/E/CS/308/2025, wherein we commenced an action by originating summons seeking interpretation of relevant
Good morning, and thank you for joining us today on The Insight. Today, on The Insight, we'll look at Nigeria. Here's the headline again. Branded a country of particular concern by the U.S. What does this bold move mean for diplomacy, security, and aid? Stay tuned as we unpack the high stakes behind the tense U.S.-Nigeria relations. And today we are looking at country of particular concern, designation, implications for U.S.-Nigeria relations. And with us to unpack and unravel these whole issues is also Barrister Fokansi, a legal practitioner, human rights activist, and a proud farmer. Also,
yes,
it's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me also this morning.
All right.
Yes,
you're welcome. Today is U.S.-Nigeria.
Yes.
Now, also, I want to ask, for the sake of our audience, what does it mean to be designated a country of particular concern?
Well, you see, some people call America, ironically, the policeman of the world. Yes, but then again, they need to express that their might, in very positive ways. And that was what led to I think it was in the Third Amendment, that they now try to protect freedom of religion worldwide, showing that any country that doesn't allow freedom of worship, that country has something up their sleeves, and nobody should die for his faith. So they now say that if there is any country that have ample evidence that people are being murdered for their belief, for their faith, that country should be designated as a country of particular interest. And that the Second Amendment allows them to impose severe sanctions and even talk with other allied nations to impose same sanction. So the issue of Nigeria became headline news in 2012 when President Goodluck Jonathan, after the abduction of the Chibok girls, Obia Ekwesili, I think it was Obia Ekwesili, and the rest of them, they now take the Bring Back Our Girls slogan. This present president today has to tweet, I think that was also in 2012, that Jonathan is not only clueless, but cannot protect lives and properties of Nigerians, which is the primary aim of any government. Because ordinarily, he cannot sit by and Christians are being slaughtered in their thousands in northern Nigeria. I'm talking about the man who is today the president. I think that time I was a senator there or something like that. Now, the table turned. Jonathan lost the election in 2015, principally because of this, because the Chibok girls was a very big stain. And even media houses, national televisions, I recall that Anagolo of Arise News was echoing this cluelessness of Jonathan, especially because of the outcry that followed the arrest and abduction of the Chibok girls, many of who have not returned till today. Now, that having been taken, Buhari won the election in 2015. And the tempo changed from PDP to APC. Now, rather than the massacre of human beings, whether Christians, whether Muslims, to abate, the intensity increased. Not that the intensity increased, the government now began to, romance with them. Because I put it that way, because I recall, it was said, the same Gumi, who said that anybody who will come out to say that going to kill people who belong to Boko Haram, that they should not vote for the person. Because this Boko Haram, I am brothers. Gumi I'm talking about.
Okay.
It was the same Pantami, who was then minister for, I think, internal affairs or there, something like that. Yes, Pantami under Buhari, who also said that both the Boko Haram people are better Muslims than some of them. So you find out that there were a lot of sponsors of Boko Haram who were even in government of Jonathan, which Jonathan even said that his problem is that we discussed at National Security Meeting, National Council of State, Executive Meeting of the ministers. At the end of the day, whatever they discuss, they relate to the Boko Haram sect, which means Boko Haram in his cabinet. Jonathan lamented that.
Okay.
So people were calling him clueless. Now, when he appointed Ihejirika as chief of army staff, Chief Ihejirika pushed on head on with the extermination of this Boko Haram sect. He actually dealt with them. The same Rufai, who later became the governor of Kaduna State, said that what the Ejirika is doing is trying to square up the number of young boys who were killed during the Igbo Nigerian Civil War. He wants to match up the same quantity in the north. That is why the people he's killing are not Boko Haram. And that also made, at the end of the day, when they removed the Ejirika, they did not continue again. Amadou Sharif, who was then governor of Borno State, was not only romancing with Boko Haram, but he actually was partners in crime with them. Meaning that when he got to Cameroon, he was arrested in Cameroon. I'm talking of the former governor of Borno State.
There were evidence to this?
No, Google it. He was arrested in Cameroon.
Okay.
Nigerian government now showed interest and pleaded with the Cameroonian government to release the man. So he was released. And that was because of his involvement with Boko Haram. You are correct, the vice president. Video that went viral when he was campaigning show him, adjusting, petting and adjusting the cap of these boys in the forest, this Boko Haramic sect. And people now told him, you belong to this sect. He didn't even accept. It has ever remained an albatross on him. Now, because of all this, America now saw Nigeria was giving lip service. Good to us. When Trump came first, he saw the thing earlier than even some of us. I love Nigeria, calling a particular concern, CPC. Joe Biden came, removed Nigeria from there, and said that whoever is being killed in Nigeria, it is farmers' headers clash, and it's because of climate change that there is certification in the north, and people are drifting down south to come and feed their cattle. So that is why they are having some clashes with it. They remove Nigeria. When Trump came back, he relisted Nigeria again. But then, when he relisted Nigeria, I think he came back last year or last 2 years, they were still collecting evidence. And the thing now intensified, the intensity increased. And the most victims, but they nearly wiped out Southern Kaduna during the era of Buhari. Southern Kaduna was nearly cleared. Because most of us who stayed in Southern Kaduna, we know that Southern Kaduna are principally Christians. I taught in one of the secondary schools in Kaduna during the service years. So,
which of the localities?
No, I was in Dusima, Zaria. Okay. Dusima was the southern part of Zaria. Yes. So I was in Dusima, government secondary school, Dusima, Zaria, when J.B. Sariki was the principal of the school. Okay. So I know that principal, all of them, because that's the principal of the school where I was then was also a Christian. So majority of people in Southern Kaduna were Christians. So the martyrdom was in Southern Kaduna then. Now, having conquered Southern Kaduna, the next point of call now became Plateau. And as they were heading to Plateau, Buhari left office. Tinubu came in. Now, remember, Tinubu told us he will continue the good works of Buhari, which Wike, before he joined him, asked us, which one is the good work of Buhari? Is it the people dying every day? Is it the hunger in the land? So that killing continued. But the irony of the thing that now made America bolder now, not only designating Nigeria as CPC, economic and political concern, but also threatening to send soldiers to Nigeria, is because these people will now come and, this Fulani terrorists will come and sack out a village, they'll come and sack a village, and then put their own signboard. Now, land reclamation in this 21st century, and now name it their own community and start living there, and nobody will ever be arrested. Now the only person who even resisted them, I think it was either in Nasarawa or the same Plateau, this young man, he overpowered one of the Asama, who was one of the Fulani, who was destroying his farm, and because of the fight, he overpowered him, took the knife and killed the man. He was arrested, taken to court. Court convicted him and sentenced him to death. He went on appeal. Appeal court ratified the death sentence. He went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court ratified it. Now, the people who sack their village and occupy the village, nobody has ever been prosecuted. Nobody has ever been taken to court. Now, the world, it was so glaring, and thanks to social media. Special thanks to social media, because if you are waiting for you journalists on national televisions, you don't tell us those stories. It is only social media that will tell us what is happening. Because many of you are watching the censorship of the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission. So we take our precaution even when we appear on the national televisions of this nation. But the truth must be told. These things are there. It is because it's not affecting you. That is why you think it's not happening. If you move from here to Kogi, just cross Enugu, get to Kogi, you will see the damages that is being caused. Check the prices of tomato. This is tomato season. If not because Nsukka people now went into tomato and pepper cultivation, you were buying a penta of pepper, 26,000 naira. So it is because the people who are farming there in the north, Kogi, Nasarawa, Plateau, these people have been decimated. They need to pay these terrorists to go to their farms. So America now designated Nigeria country of particular concern. It is even long overdue. The only one many people quarrel with is also sending soldiers to Nigeria to come and then decimate these terrorists.
Okay. All right. As a router, what will deal with proven facts as journalists and insecurity anywhere, any death anywhere affects each and every one of us. But moving up, we'll take a look at the video from the Bishop of Benue Makurdi Diocese before we go into the conversation proper.
Of Benue State in Nigeria. I am the shepherd of one of the 4 dioceses, Catholic dioceses in Benue. We have others, Anglican, Methodist, and Pentecostals, which central them. Benue State has a population of about 6.1 million people, 2 million of whom are those under my care as the bishop of the diocese. Benue State is about 98% Christian, with very few Muslims living in towns. Nigeria and eventually my diocese and the state of Benue have become, in recent years, one of the most dangerous and insecure places for Christians. Christians and Muslims are nearly evenly divided among Nigeria's large population of over 200 million persons. Islamist extremists are fiercely contesting the possession, control, and governing law of the land, especially in the country's northern and central regions, the latter of which is where Benue is located. There are constant ethnic, political, and religious conflicts over land and allegiance. Constitutionally, we are a secular country, but our unity has been fragile. Political and religious actions and even public speech have been carefully managed to avoid accusations of religious bias and political tensions. Today, the clear influence of Islamist extremists has changed the traditional social dynamics of tribe, ethnicity, religion, and the social status in Nigeria. Because just recently, at the beginning of the Ramadan fast, 12 states in northern Nigeria have declared closed schools so that they attend to this. And you can imagine which other country in the world does that. Saudi Arabia is not doing it. Afghanistan is not doing it. Baghdad is not doing it, but then Nigeria is present. What kind of Islam are they practicing? 12 states, and not only Muslims are living in these places. What happens with the educational program or curriculum of the country? But this is what we are going through every day in Nigeria. A long-term Islamic agenda to homogenize the population has been implemented over several presidencies through a strategy to reduce and eventually eliminate the Christian identity of half of the population. This strategy includes both violent and non-violent actions, such as the exclusion of Christians from positions of power and adoption of such church members, the raping of women, the killing and exploitation of Christians, the destruction of churches and farmlands of Christian farmers, followed by the occupation of such lands by the Fulani herders, and also changing the names of these villages. They are taking over the places, so you clearly see an expansionist approach and Islamic, and then they are making the people now flee.
All right. Also, in view of the clip we've watched, we are aware this is a serious but very delicate issue. However, There are many like Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka who are of the view or describe the situation as a form of genocide, but emphasizes that it is not solely religious. What do you have to say?
Yes, you see, Matthew Hassan Kuka is a bishop. He's also a politician, because I've known Matthew Kuka from First Act Town, where he was the priest in charge in Lagos before he even became a bishop. He's a public analyst. He's a public affairs analyst, like some of us who go to television stations and radio stations. And he chooses his words very carefully. Like, you see what the bishop now said. He collaborated everything I have said earlier. He said even people who go to public discourse or debates, they chew their words to avoid backlash. But we have gone beyond chewing words now. We now say the truth as they are. So if Kuka says it's not purely religious, he might be getting it wrong. Let me now tell you why I said he might be getting it wrong. 1 million Christians massacred in Yellowwater. 10,000 people massacred between the months of this and month of that in Plateau. The question is, who is massacring these people? That is the question Matthew did not address. If Hassan has addressed that, he would have known it is a religious genocide. Because all the killings are being perpetrated by a given religious sect, the Muslim sect. Whether you call them Boko Haram, whether you call them Islamic sect, whether you call them Fulani herdsmen, principally the Fulanis brought Islam to Nigeria through Ottoman Danfodio. So predominantly wherever they stay in the Futa Jalon and any of the West African enclave, they are Muslims principally. In fact, if there are 100 Muslims in any community, then 99 of them will be Muslims. One might be, a traditional religionist or somebody who believes in, but I doubt. So all these killings are being perpetrated by them. You have never heard that Christians invaded a mosque anywhere and they eliminated Muslims. No. It is still Muslims killing Christians, Muslims killing Muslims, Muslims killing non-Christians, non-Muslims. So you find out that if Matthew Land said it is not purely religious because that's what they did their advice, including Gumi, that Muslims are also dying, Christians are dying. That is not only Muslims that are Christians that are being killed. Now ask yourself the question, who is killing these people? That's the question they should address. If they address it successfully and tell me that Christians are, listen, the other man in I think Sabon Gerikan or sometime in 2016 or thereabout, the wife took a piece of paper and cleaned the mess of the little child, threw it into a dust can. Before you know it, rumor began to circulate that the man desecrated the Holy Quran. Before you know it, people were surging to his compound. The wife took grace, the man ran into a police station. I think that was during Abacha's time, not even 2006. It was during Abacha's time. That's what happened before politicians. It was during Abacha, because I remember Abacha tried the soldiers who went to the police station where the man ran to, brought the man out, cut off his head, and hung the head on a pole as if they were celebrating the capture of Satan. They ran around the entire Sabon Gerinkan. Abacha was miffed with that. He brought the soldiers who accompanied the civilians to the police station, tried all of them. So a few of them were executed. But has the man come back? The man has not come back. Then Deborah, who also Deborah, I think it was in Sokoto, a student of Ottoman Danfodio College of Education. In their normal platform, people will leave what they are doing and start preaching. He said this platform is not for religious preaching. They said she has blasphemed. And in the glare of everybody, students who are supposed to know better, stoned the lady, the young girl, to death. Now, if I keep on recounting, the other lady who was preaching in the morning, they said they were doing their morning evangelism. She was, rounded up by young boys, slaughtered early hours of the morning for preaching her religion. I'm coming. Now, with all these things happening, you have never had, you live in Enugu. I live in somewhere near Haven Extension here. Early every morning around, what tells me that day has broken is the Muslim microphone that will start announcing their early morning prayers around 5 o'clock. I wake up and say the day has broken. Nobody has ever gone to stop them for putting that microphone to wake us up in the morning. Nobody has ever done that. And no, nobody do it in the north. Nobody ever tried it in the north. So if you tell you it's not religious cleansing, tell me it is a lie. So America knows your security, knows your intels even better than you.
All right, sir. But looking at this situation, given that ISWAP and the bandits, when they go, often is driven by economic and territorial quest, even like the bishop and the police said. Yes. So one may want to ask, the U.S. action, does it not risk conflicting security and political crisis with purely religious undertone?
No, you see, I said it, that's the one that very charter, that the third amendment did not allow them, is invading any country. All right? You can designate a country of political concern, give whatever concern you want to give. I'm not what do you call it? I'm not an advocate of Americans' boot on the soil of Nigeria. I don't advocate for that, because wherever they have gone before, they didn't. When they go out from that place, it has never been rosy again. They went to Libya. You see what's happening in Libya today. They went to Venezuela. They went to Afghanistan. They went to name it. Every place where they have gone to, you know, when they went to Iraq to remove Saddam Hussein, today Iraq is ruled by militia. Remember before, we used to watch Arabian Nights movies. And these movies are cast in Iran and Iraq in those sweet days. But no more, after America invaded them. So they might have some other economic interests. But the question is, why should even the Nigerian government allow the thing to escalate to such a level that America will now threaten to have their boots on the soil of Nigeria? That is the question I'm asking. It is now that the military is now publishing names of Boko Haram that were killed, that were arrested, that were this, and want them to show all their faces. If they have killed anyone, show all the dead bodies. If they have arrested anyone, show all their faces. Remember these ones that were arrested during Buhari's era? Once they arrest them, they sew a Shebi dress for them, give them uniform, and then train them for a few weeks, give them a few bags of rice, give them more condiments and some more cash, and tell them that we are now reintegrated into the society. Left to Buhari, Buhari could have wanted Nigeria to be an Islamic state because he's a fanatic. Truth of the matter. Remember, it was Buhari who said if Jonathan reaches election, I think that was in 2012 or thereabout, that the baboons and monkeys shall be soaked in blood. Somebody who is a presidential aspirant. And people actually were soaked in blood. You can recall that.
All right. But given that Nigerian government counter-terrorism efforts, how credible are U.S. claims of existential threats to Christians in Nigeria? Being that we daily witness government efforts, and when these people strike, let's say if a bomb goes off in Nigeria, it doesn't distinguish between a Christian and a Muslim. We know what has happened in Kwara State. We know what has happened in Niger State, where indigenes were meant to pay tribute to the bandits, and these are Muslims as well affected in these situations. So, is the US justified to tag this a threat to just Christians?
Well, if they tell you they are not justified, then I'm telling you lies. Nigerian counter-terrorism efforts, if we must tell ourselves the truth, do we even have counter-terrorism sports in Nigeria? Do we have? The project that people might wear uniform, label themselves, give themselves any nomenclature they like. They can call themselves any name. Remember, after the NSAS, they changed the thing to SWAT. After SWAT, they now have a lot of other tactical squads in police, octopus, just name it. I can't remember all their names. Even Hawk, the Hawk squad, the octopus squad, anti-kidnapping, SWAT. There are very many now in Nigerian police. But the question is, the only place where you see their action, where they are very, very effective, is when me and you go to protest what the government is doing. That's where you see Nigerian police, all those tactical squads, and even the army come after us. People who are doing peaceful protest, that is the ones that our security agencies can mow down if they like, throw canisters and even use live bullets. But on Boko Haram and on those insurgents, they romance with them. Because you saw the peace moves that are happening in the north. They will say they are going to have a peace meeting. After the peace meeting, the next day it will become worse. Another group might step in and then demand their own booty. Because Nigeria is not heaven. For every form of, all shades of terrorists, they come in here at will and live at will. You can see what happened now. Immediately America gave their threat of bringing troops to Nigeria. Niger quickly started sealing up their borders. Because during the Sahel Alliance of Sahel states, they succeeded in driving at least 60% of the terrorists out of the Sahel states. And many of them drifted into Nigeria, where they are being romanced by the government. Because they are being romanced here. And that's why they are free here. So if you tell me that the counter-terrorism squad in Nigeria is working, I have not seen it work. It only works when there's peaceful protest. During the NSAS, the army was very, very bold to open fire on the young boys who are carrying Nigerian flag. In the last hashtag 20th of October, hashtag release Martin and the kind of protest, you can see what happened. Where 2 or 3 people were just discussing, they threw tear gas at them. And before you can say Jack Robinson, that's why firing live bullets. Thank God in that one, no life was lost. And now they started making an arrest. After arrest, they dragged them to court the next day, or just 2 or 3 days thereafter. That is the way, that is the only area where our security agencies are very strong. Quelling riots and protests, telling people not to protest, even when you are protesting for them. Because the bad life in Nigeria affects them more than me and you. Go and look at the police quarters. Go to police. You can't eat there. Go to military barracks. Forget the section where their big men live. That's what they like GRA. Go to the side of the money market and see where our soldiers will find for us to sleep in the night, where they live. And so these protests where the people do, it's also for their own good. But they are the ones who will bring canisters of tear gas and arms and ammunition and fire at protesters. That's where they are strong. It's universal in Africa. It happened in Madagascar that way, even though at the end of the day, the soldiers are aligned with the people. Today, the Museveni campaign is going on in Uganda. While the campaign is going on, Museveni goes, as old as he is, he goes to his own campaign in a peaceful convoy. Bobby Wine, who is the choice of greater part of youth in Uganda, they will torture him, they will tear gas his crowd. The crowd kept coming. Look at what's happening in Cameroon. The man who actually won the election has been shortchanged by the Constitutional Council.
Okay.
Now look at Tanzania. The youth in Tanzania, they're on the road. Close to 4, we're getting to 4 or 5 days now. Now, what we are saying in effect is that the Nigerian government ordinarily should not have waited for this thing to escalate to this level. What this bishop said is just the tip of the iceberg. Because bishops oversees a diocese, and diocese is very large. Go to individual parish priests where these things happen. Let them give you gory stories of how people have been butchered and how churches have been set ablaze.
Okay.
And you have to tell me how many mosques have been set ablaze.
All right. Let's look at this infringement, for example, or this disannexion, starting with the tweet from the President of the United States of America, where he said, if the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the U.S. will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns are blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. I am hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, fixtures, sweet, just like the terrorist thugs attack our cherished Christians. Warning, the Nigerian government better move fast. Bearing this in mind, yes, I would want to ask, and though our Ministry of Foreign Affairs has responded to this, but I want to ask, does the U.S. involvement not qualify as an infringement on the sovereignty and involvement on or in Nigerian internal affairs?
Uche, I don't think the last part of the tweet, that is guns are blazing, blah, blah, blah. Those ones is what I told you earlier that I don't agree with.
Okay.
But with sanctions, no, but if they start imposing sanctions, who will suffer the sanctions? Me and you. The common man in the street, stay. Not those of them who are stealing our commonwealth. Because Nigeria is the most blessed country in the world in terms of endowment of natural resources under our soil and our subsoil. There's no country in the world that has the number of minerals that are in Nigeria, no country. Name it. From California, which is one of the most expensive minerals today, that are mined in Zamfara forest illegally and being sold, and they tell you it is Boko Haram, to gold that is mined in Zamfara. The other one is Sambisa, but the other one is Zamfara. And in Zamfara, you can notice that even in Zamfara, they are mining the gold also illegally and selling to Chinese. But Chinese have to build a dusty runway inside the forest in Zamfara. That made the Buhari even say he's imposing a no-fly zone in Zamfara. So when Zamfara has no airport, you can imagine that kind of thing. Now, talk about the blue diamonds. Then let us leave the oil, because oil is already everywhere, including the Benue basin. There is oil there, just like you have oil, especially the part of the southeast. But our gas deposit, because gas is the future, our gas deposit can last Europe, America, and even some part of Asia for the next 100 years. And where is this gas deposited? Imo State here. And they are building a turbine, a pipeline to connect this thing from Imo State to Europe. It's in a Google it, it's nearly completion. And that is what brought Hope Uzodimma into Imo State via the Supreme Court. Otherwise, somebody who came forth cannot just suddenly confess. But the Supreme Court said, first person, first person has now become president. And it is even in the Bible. The first shall be the last, and the last shall be the first. So it happened in Imo. But there is an aim why the man is there.
All right. On that note also, we'll go on a short break. And while we return, we'll continue to look at this geopolitical interest.
Yes.
Thank you for staying with us, and we've been talking with Ozo Barrister Ofokansi on the implications of U.S.-Nigeria relation as pertaining the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern. And also, before I ask the next question, let's take a look at the rebuttal or the press release from our Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And it reads, the United States of America has made its statement on religious freedom. Nigeria has noted, we remain committed in our resolve to tackle violent extremism that is fueled by special interests who have helped drive such decay and division in countries across the intersecting West Africa and Sahel regions. We mourn all the victims of violent extremism and salute our armed forces as they continue to fight against vicious but cowardly foes. The federal government of Nigeria will continue to defend all citizens, irrespective of race, creed, or religion. Like America, Nigeria has no option but to celebrate the diversity that is our tolerance, that is our greatest strength. Nigeria is a God-fearing country where we respect faith, tolerance, diversity, and inclusion. In accordance with the rules-based international order, the U.S. has been, and we trust will always remain, a close ally, because the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu will remain our laser focus, and steadfast commitment to all partners who believe in genuine peace, stability, freedom, and democracy. Signed by the spokesman of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja. And also, having listened to this press release, I want to ask that many critics argue that this designation could be politically motivated. How would you respond to concerns about geopolitical interests shaping this decision to designate Nigeria a country of particular concern?
You see, he said you've been indicating that the American blah 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 is noted. That's what the ministry wrote before they announced that all the other ones they wrote down. Now, first of all, let us first look at this from the point of view of trying to save lives and stop the carnage of Christians. In fact, the carnage of anybody, whether Christian or Muslim, no life is worth more than the other person's own life. Now, but you should also understand that to fuel one tomahawk in the United States to move it to Africa to fight any insurgency, you know how much it's going to take. America cannot do it for free. Certainly, they can't do it, even though Nigeria is not inviting them. But if they eventually come and succeed in, saving this massacre that is going on, you don't expect them to do it for free. But you know that we have what we shall pay for it. Politically speaking, I said it, I keep on saying it, that I have, even though I know if you put the weight in the altar of public opinion, greater public opinion welcomes the American visit. They want them to come. Because somebody asked when I did a radio program yesterday morning, if you are asking your father to do something for you, and your father refused, and somebody now offers to do that same thing your father could have done for you, wouldn't you appreciate that person? So if we have been begging the Nigerian government to stop the carnage, especially the killing of Christians, and they refuse, and somebody now says, no, it's coming to stop it, why should we tell the person not to come? Because nobody wants to die. You can recall that these politicians brought these people to Nigeria. Obasanjo was here for 8 years. Did you hear any insurgency? The only thing we hear about Obasanjo's time is that maybe oil bunkering, and people, soldiers went to stop it, and people, they attack soldiers, and Obasanjo sent soldiers to the place to unleash mayhem on them. But this issue of Boko Haram, I think it started roughly during between 2012 or thereabout. I think Obasanjo has left office. And that was when, what was that man's name? He was arrested in Borno. And he died under, questionable circumstances in police detention. So having died, his sect went underground. And when they resurfaced, it now blossomed into Boko Haram. And when they saw that, following the fall of Libya too, a lot of loose arms were circulating in the Arabian world, it was easy to get catchment of arms. Until eventually the Sahel region also helped to drive out some of their own terrorists out of the Sahel region. They now saw Nigeria as a heaven. They all drifted into another Nigeria. So that's why talking about peace cannot have any meaning. And that's why it is like you rightly pointed out that some villagers we are trying to pay up, in terms of settlement to pay you the taxes that allow us to go to our farm. So it is because Nigeria became a heaven for all sorts and all manner of terrorists. That is why it is happening that way. So the political undertone in the thing, if they come here, there is no way they can do it for free, even though you are not asking them to come for it. But it is their right to protect every religious sect. They are not saying people should not practice their Islamic religion. Did they say that? No. But they said don't kill Christians because of their faith.
All right. Also, I want to ask, let's look at implications now. And like the letter rightly pointed out, the U.S. are our allies. So what does this designation really mean for the U.S.-Nigerian relations?
No. Like you said, Nigeria, U.S. is our ally, and they keep on being, they continue to be our ally. You can know that Nigeria, like I said, because of the bounteous nature of the mineral resources in our country, Every nation of the world is interested in Nigeria. Nigeria has one of the greatest number of intellectual capital that, apart from Israel, that occupy sensitive positions in the United States, even becoming mayors of the various local governments. You diagnose with an ailment here, and you are flown overseas to maybe to the United States to be treated. Lo and behold, you go there to be a Nigerian doctor that will attend to you. A Nigerian who is a medical doctor in the United States. So they saw the large wealth of resources in us, both natural and human resources. And they wouldn't allow us to be, destroyed by religious extremism, because if they allow it, it will have a repercussion effect, including even in the American military. Neglected number of Nigerians in the American army. You see the number, how many of them. Google how many Nigerian engineers that are in the United States. Google how many Nigerian doctors are in the United States. So they are our ally, ordinarily speaking. So that big brother syndrome will also be played out, because they now see something is fishing, and if it is left unchecked, by the time Tinubu completes his 4-year tenure, I doubt whether we will still be in Enugu here doing this program on Aneke TV, because they must have overrun Plateau, they must have overrun Benue, they must have overrun Kogi, and the next target is Enugu. And if they overrun Enugu, the next target is Imo and Abia, until they dip that Quran, which they have been praying, that they want to dip the Quran into the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay, also, let's assume, like Trump had said in his tweet, that America decides to put boots on ground, or decides to intervene through air or use of drone, however, beyond the diplomatic channels. Are there security implications for Nigeria, talking about their intervention?
Yes, there are. One is that you don't need to come into any country, any sovereign nation, carry out that kind of thing, the guise of protecting anybody without the consent and the permission of that country. You can see when Nigeria did that kind of, they did it twice. They tried it in Britain, but that one was foiled. It was simple. They went to abduct in 1983. Went to abduct
Omar Odiko.
It was abducted. It was foiled at the airport. The same Buhari went to Kenya and abducted Nnamdi Kanu without the consent of the Chinese Kenyan government. And that was when the suit filed in Kenya slammed both Nigerian government and Kenyan officials and awarded Nnamdi Kanu heavy costs under international law that is recoverable, but which they have not also recovered. And Nigeria is still trying the same person they went at. So if Trump brings boots on the ground to stop the massacre of Christians, what is wrong with it? After all, what goes around comes around. If you can go to Kenya without Kenyan authority and abduct somebody, so what stops other people coming to our own country to stop mayhem that is happening in your country? This one is coming to help us even. Their own, they went there to commit an offense. Nigeria went to Kenya to commit an offense in Kenya. But this one, what is it called? America is coming here to assist Nigeria, what they could have not done themselves. Because the same thing Tinubu criticized Jordan for is what is happening under his feet. And he's keeping mum. All of them woke up now, foreign ministry, name it, DSL, they have now woken up because America said guns are blazing. Are you not even sure that America has come to Nigeria already? Are you not sure that how can we not even be sure that they are not already in the country here now? So leave our people, we like lip service. Something you could have done since 2012 when this thing started, 2012 to 2025. A child born in 2012, other human beings, we are coming to protect them because we know the enclaves where these people are. And that's why I say it's going to be selective, precise, and sweet. So it is going to be swift. So just like these people just do their own, come in the night, massacre a village, and disappear. Tomorrow morning they put up a signboard and say it's now their own community and live there. And the people will come and pass. The army will come and pass them. But if one of them is seized, the army will attack the entire village. So this is blasphemy where we are just trying to undo ourselves and know what we are doing. So the security implication is that the army, the police, our security agencies, what you fail to do, somebody is coming to help you do it. accidentally assist the person. After all, they have had military collaboration with America before. The Nigerian army has had, go and Google it too. They have had military collaborations with the American army, both in training, logistics, and the other modern equipment.
Okay. In that regard also, yes, we are aware that the Nigerian government in the past has collaborated with the U.S. Army and even had mercenaries.
Good afternoon and welcome to news across the country on Aneke TV. I'm Deborah Wakaba. And now to the headlines. UN warns Nigeria among 16 countries on brink of hunger crisis. Tinubu moves to boost diaspora investment. Health Farmer mobilizes Lagos communities against unsafe health facilities. Group warns 500,000 jobs at risk over NAFDAC alcohol ban. Troops rescue 74 NYSC members from Boko Haram in Borno. Ebonyi State demolishes unauthorized shops to enforce market order. Nigerian breweries eyes revival of Imo Brewery. Abia State geometric power faces first outage in 2 months. And now to the details of the news. The United Nations has flagged Nigeria, Mali and 14 other countries as at risk of a major hunger crisis, warning that millions could face famine if urgent action isn't taken. A joint report by the Food and Agriculture Organization (FOA) and the World Food Programme (WFP) cited conflict and violence as key drivers of food insecurity. Countries of very high concern include Nigeria, Afghanistan, DR Congo, Myanmar, Somalia and Syria. WFP Executive Director Cindy McCain warned that the crisis is preventable. FOA highlighted that agricultural livelihoods are at risk, stressing that seeds, livestock, health services and farming support are critical to avoid recurring food crisis. The Health Facility Monitoring and Accreditation Agency, HEFAMA, is urging Lagos residents to keep an eye out of illegal or substandard health facilities in their communities. Speaking at a town hall in Amuwo Odofi, Dr. Olorufemi Olonire, representing HEFAMA's permanent secretary, stressed that healthcare regulation is a shared responsibility between authorities and the public. If you see a clinic, maternity home or health center operating under unsafe condition, report it to HEFAMA, Olonire said, urging community vigilance to ensure safety and quality. Governor Sanwo-Olu's administration reaffirmed its commitment to delivering quality healthcare to all Lagos residents on the mainland, the island and riverine communities. The chairman of Adamawa ADC, Shehu Kambile, has resigned as special assistant to Governor Amadu Fintiri. Kambile said the move is strategic, allowing him to focus on building the ADC as a credible position in the state. He thanked Fintiri for the opportunity and urged party members to unite for electoral success. He also commended former Vice President Atiku Abubakar for promoting inclusive and democratic practices within the party. Prominent Northern activist and good governance advocate Bello Galadanshi, popularly known as Dan Bello, has alleged that the United States Senate, House of Representatives and the European Union are reviewing reports on what he described as Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike's destruction of democracy in Nigeria. In a video posted on his X handle on Thursday, Dan Bello emphasized that his concern is not driven by a political affiliation, but by a commitment to defending Nigeria's democratic institution. Nigeria is at a critical juncture where the choices of a few powerful men may determine the fate of 250 million people, Bello said, pointing to Wike as central to the controversy. He accused Wike of systematically undermining democratic norms through manipulation of state resources, the judiciary, security agencies, and political party structures. According to Bello, Wike has allegedly fractured opposition parties including the PDP, Labour Party and ADC used state forces to suppress dissent and exerted undue influence on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. This is not politics. This is the suffocation of multi-party democracy. Nowhere is this cleaner than in Rivers State, Bello said, warning that unchecked such actions could plunge Nigeria into instability similar to what parts of the Sahel region are experiencing. The activist claims that a detailed document outlining these allegations has been submitted to both the U.S. Senate and House of Representatives for review. A civil society group, Stand Up Nigeria, has condemned the planned ban on sachets and small bottle alcoholic drinks, warning that it could cost the country over 1.9 trillion naira in investment and puts more than 500,000 jobs at risk. The group accused the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, of acting undemocratically by enforcing a Senate directive without consulting key stakeholders. Speaking at a press conference in Abuja, the group's convener, Sunday Atta, described the move as high-handed and illegal, arguing it contradicts President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, which aims to boost local industries and job creation. Atta said the Senate's directive to enforce the ban by December 31, 2025 ignored earlier resolutions reached with the Federal Ministry of Health and the House of Representatives. The group warned that the policy could cripple the alcoholic beverage industry, lead to massive layoffs, and hurt small businesses across Nigeria's food and beverage sector. The estimated up to 5 million indirect jobs could be lost in supply chains, logistics, and marketing. Stand Up Nigeria called on Health Minister Ali Pat to intervene and ensure fair consultation with manufacturers and distributors. It also urged the Senate to revisit the decision, hold public hearings, and adopt a more inclusive approach to policy making. The Kano State Police Command has arrested a driver suspected of stealing a Toyota Hilux from the convoy of Deputy Governor Aminu Abdulsalam Gwazo. The vehicle has been recovered following a swift and coordinated operation by security operatives. The suspect, a permanent and pensionable driver, is in custody and cooperating with police investigations. The Deputy Governor's office described the theft as a clear breach of trust and praised the professionalism of the security agencies involved. Officials assured the public that the security of lives and property remains a top priority for the Kano State government, both inside and outside the government house, urging residents to remain calm. Troops of the Joint Task Force Operation Hadinkai have rescued 74 NYSC members from a likely abduction by Boko Haram ISWAP along Bubarutai-Kamuya Road in Borno State. The corps members' vehicles broke down near a known kidnapping hotspot Tuesday night. Military CCTV monitoring detected suspicious movements, prompting a rapid deployment that ensured the students' safety. The rescued youths, 36 males and 38 females, were on an evangelical mission to Hawo local government area without an armed escort. They are now safe in Buratai military base with arrangements on the way for secure onward travel. This comes days after the same troops rescued 86 kidnapped victims and arrested 29 suspected Boko Haram collaborators in the region. A senior advocate of Nigeria, Professor Yusuf Olaolu Ali, has warned that Nigerian security policies are harming citizens instead of protecting them. Speaking at the Gavel International Annual Lecture and Awards 2025 in Lagos, he said counter-terrorism and law enforcement measures have strayed from constitutional safeguards, leaving ordinary Nigerians, especially the poor, women and displaced persons, as victims. Ali condemned part of the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022 that permits prolonged detention without trial, calling them unconstitutional and a threat to human rights. He urged the government to adopt a people-centered approach to security that prioritizes justice, economic empowerment, and the rule of law, warning that security must never become an excuse for injustice. Other speakers, including retired Major General James Ataguba and Lagos Commissioner Benga Omotosho, blamed corruption, weak accountability, and over-reliance on the military for worsening insecurity. They stressed that true peace will only come when governance tackles poverty, inequality, and human rights abuses. You're watching Aneke TV News across the country. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. Now a quick reminder of major developments in the news. UN warns Nigeria among 16 countries on brink of hunger strikes. Tinubu moves to boost diaspora investment. Her farmer mobilizes Lagos communities against unsafe health facilities. Group wants 500,000 jobs at risk over NAFDAC alcohol ban. Troops rescue 74 NYSC members from Boko Haram in Borno. And coming up shortly, Ebonyi State demolishes unauthorized shops to enforce market order. Nigerian breweries eyes revival of Imo Brewery. Abia State geometric power faces first outage in 2 months. We'll be right back.
The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the broad mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter whose fault is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices. Uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on The Insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV.
Still on the news. Ebonyi State authorities have demolished illegal market structures at Integrated Building Materials Market along the Abakaliki-Afikpo Highway. The government, through the Ministry of Market Development and Parks, warned that all traders must follow approved layout or face sanctions. Commissioner Professor Wogo Ajuka Obasi said repeated notices were ignored, stressing that no one, regardless of status, is above the law. Honorable Sunday Iyima, Commissioner for Capital City Development, urged traders to seek prior approval and constructions, reaffirming the state's commitment to other safety and environmental standards. Security agencies were on the hand to enforce compliance. The exercise involved officials from the Ebonyi State Market Development Board, ensuring that organized modern markets become a reality across the state. Geometric Power, one of Nigeria's leading electricity providers, experienced its first blackout in 60 days starting at 4:33 a.m. today. Edise Oikong, Senior Brand and Communication Manager at Aba Power Electricity Company, Geometric Distribution Arm, blamed the outage on a gas supply disruption from Hess Energies, operator of the OML 17 joint venture with NNPL in Abia State. Ekong said the company is working with gas suppliers to restore power to 9 of the 17 local government areas it serves. A backup from the national grid isn't available yet, as a new TCN substation that caters to geometric power is still undergoing testing. About a hub of domestic manufacturing has been praised for its consistent power supply. Experts like former NEPA engineer Cliff Ene and consultant DK Ejike commended geometric power for its reliability, noting that such uninterrupted electricity is rare in Nigeria's largely gas-dependent power sector. This record should wake up other power companies, but the government must ensure steady gas supply, Ejike said. Nigerian Breweries PLC is considering reopening its dormant Awo Omama brewery in Imo State following the commissioning of a 2-ton per day cassava processing plant in the community. Managing Director Thibaut Biodin said the plant, donated as part of company CSR drive, aims to create jobs, boost local revenue estimated at 500 million naira annually, and position Awo Mama as a cassava processing hub. Biodin expressed optimism that Imo's improving stability could attract investment to restart brewery operations, bring back local brands, and restore employment. Imo State Trade Commissioner Barrister Rex Anu Nobi praised the initiative and urged Nigerian breweries to reopen the brewery, promising government support through streamlined business processes, better roads, and lower taxes. The handover ceremony saw top executives and government officials in attendance, highlighting collaboration for economic growth. And now in business news. Governor Peter Ndubi Simba is redefining governance in Enugu State, turning bold reforms and technology into tangible growth. The Country First Group says Mba is moving the state from a civil service-based economy to a tech-driven hub, aiming at boost GDP from $4.4 billion to $30 billion in 8 years. Key initiatives include digitizing 80% of land titles, ending a 2-decade water crisis, and growing internally generated revenue nearly 300%, all without taxes. Urban projects like the 10,000-hectare New Enugu City and Enugu Air Transport Initiative complement industrial and agricultural revamps, while a fiber optic network and AI-powered command center enhance digital infrastructure and security. Professor Chris Nwaokabia is of the country's first movement praised Mba's pragmatic, performance-driven leadership, calling him a talk-and-do governor whose reforms make Enugu a model of efficiency and investment-friendly governance. Still on business, Nigeria's government says it is fully committed to creating an environment where Nigerians abroad can invest and partner more easily with a home economy. Vice President Kashim Shettima, speaking on behalf of President Bola Tinubu at the 8th Nigerian Diaspora Investment Summit in Abuja, said the administration's renewed hope agenda places the diaspora at the heart of its growth strategy. Shettima outlined key initiatives, including a proposed diaspora bond, the home and abroad housing platform, and partnerships connecting diaspora scientists and innovators with opportunities in Nigeria. He said reforms like the non-resident BVN and flexible exchange rates have boosted remittances to about $21 billion in 2024, sustaining millions of households. Highlighting MSMEs as the backbone of economic growth, Shettima announced programs such as the 75 billion naira MSME Fund, the FGN Alert Digital Skill Innovation Program, and national MSME clinics to expand access to finance and skills. He said infrastructure remains central to Tinubu's vision, citing approvals of 4.2 trillion naira for roads and 1.3 trillion naira for power sector debt, as well as plans for 90,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable to drive digital growth. Minister of Information Mohammed Idris Malagi urged Nigerians to promote a positive image of the country abroad, noting that Nigerians' removal from the Financial Action Task Force grey list has boosted investors' confidence. He said the government reforms now allow foreign businesses to repatriate funds freely, reinforcing Tinubu's pledge to make Nigeria open, competitive, and investment-friendly. Moving over to sports. Gabon's head coach Thierry Moyoma says his team must adopt a special tactical plan to contain Nigerian star striker Victor Osimhen in the 2026 World Cup qualifying playoff. Moyoma described the Napoli forward as a difficult problem for any defense, praising his unpredictable movements, aerial power and sharp runs behind defenders. Despite struggling with fitness earlier in the qualifiers, Osimhen has been in unstoppable form, netting 6 goals in 5 games, including a hat-trick in Nigeria's 4-0 demolition of Benin. At club level, he has also topped the UEFA Champions League scoring chart with a treble against Ajax. Moyoma said Gabon must rethink its defensive shape, shorten spaces behind the backline and improve set-piece organization to limit Osimhen's threat. You can't defend against him like any other player, he warned. Even if you close one door, he finds another way to hurt you. The coach added that the playoff would be a clash of styles, saying Gabon must manage the game's tempo, control energy levels and push play into Nigerians' half. He admitted facing top African sides like Nigeria, Senegal and Morocco helps his team grow, but against Osimhen, every mistake could be costly. And now to the world of entertainment. Nollywood actress Peggy Ovire is under fire after CCTV footage of a heated confrontation with fellow actor Taye Arimoro surfaced online. In the viral video, Taye claims Peggy and her team blocked his car, deflated his tires and assaulted him, leaving visible injuries on his gums and lips. Peggy in turn accused Taye of attacking 2 of her crew members, saying the situation escalated before she intervened. The footage shows Peggy yanking off her wig and preparing to engage physically, sparking backlash on social media. Many fans criticized her behavior, with some linking it to her personal life, while others defended Taye's composure. Social media reactions range from shock at Peggy's aggression to support for Taye restraints, with many urging calm on set. And now to end news across the country, here are the main points again. The United Nations has identified Nigeria among 16 countries at risk of a severe hunger crisis, warning that millions could face famine if urgent action isn't taken. Her farmer called on Lagos communities to report illegal or substandard clinics and health centers to ensure safety and quality health care. Military forces rescued 74 NYSC Corps members from a likely Boko Haram abduction after their vehicles broke down near a known kidnapping hotspot. Meanwhile, a civil society group warned that NAFDAC's ban on sachets and small bottle alcoholic drinks could cost over 500,000 jobs and 1.9 trillion naira in investment. That's news across the country at noon. For breaking news and eyewitness reports, call 070-3043-7110 or follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. On behalf of the producer Chidima Sogwa and the entire news team, I'm Deborah Wakaba. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.
The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the bold mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter whose heart is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices, uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on the inside with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us.
The November edition of Nkata Umuibe, held at the Center for Memories in Enugu, examined the state of human rights in Igbo land under the theme Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ. Guest speaker and human rights advocate Mr. Larry Ogwego emphasized the interdependence between people and community, likening it to that of water and fish. He traced the concept of human rights in Igbo society to pre-colonial traditions of justice and fairness, and decried ongoing abuses by security agencies and government institutions.
When we talk about interrogate, we are talking about asking serious questions, asking questions aggressively about the state of human rights in Ali. But before that question of the state of human rights in Ali, there's a very interesting statement, a very interesting philosophical statement in Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ. So that statement speaks to the fact that without the understanding of Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ, you may not even fully appreciate what we are going to be talking about. Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ speaks about the fact that there is no way you can make progress in a society if you do not recognize interdependence. Mmiri actually accommodates the Azụ. The water accommodates the fish. Without the water, the fish will not survive. But guess what? Without the fish, the water will lose part of its relevance. As a matter of fact, in several riverine areas, what takes people to the water is the fish. So if you remove the fish from the water, people may not even know the water is there. Besides being a means of moving from one point to another, one major reason people go to the water is to get fish. So there is this interdependence between Mmiri and Azụ, between the water and the fish. While the water looks like it's more important because it accommodates the fish, if you remove the fish, the water loses a large part of its relevance. And that is what we are looking at today, Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ, which speaks to different aspects of Igbo philosophy. Ewe bere, ugo bere, okata na akpa dipe, madi biaru no kono nogo, diri kam diri. All of these expressions speak to one fact, that we have to learn how to coexist peacefully to the benefit of all of us. So when you get that background, it lays a foundation for the conversation about the state of human rights in our Igbo.
Mr. Ogwego urged Ndi Igbo to revive communal values and use their strength to protect the vulnerable. The session, moderated by Mavis Norma, called on learning institutions to champion the restoration of human rights and dignity across our Igbo. Chidimi Kemede, Aneke TV.
The Arena with Chris and Ibogo is the platform where we meet to take critical analysis of burning and topical issues and matters in the society as to proper solutions on making the society better.
You came into office, you locked the door to everybody. Nobody can even access you. You don't even play the politics.
Month in, month out, year in, year out. So where is the money going to? Where's the resources?
Whenever the economy is in a shambles, you find the government embracing pro-people policy to assuage the harsh economic reality.
It was used to settle political interest, and Nigerians were paying dearly for it.
Tune in to the Arena with Chris and Ibogo every Monday through Thursday by 1 p.m. only on Aneke TV. Join us.
Aqua, water. Water is life. Ancient, sacred, pure. It remembers creation and carries cleansing. It can be calm or it can rage, but it always moves. Aqua teaches us to be soft yet strong, to adapt yet remain, to flow around obstacles yet shape even the hardest stone. We came from water. We need water, and sometimes when words fail and hearts break, only water, falling from our eyes or washing over our skin, can heal what language cannot. The soul is part of us that survives every storm. You can't see it, but you can feel it in silence, in longing, in every heartbeat that keeps going. It asks for more than food and fame. It hungers for meaning, for stillness, for the divine. The soul is where music is born, where peace begins, where truth hides. To care for your soul is the greatest act of self-love. For in the end, what we were fades, but what we are at our core remains.
And we are on the street today to find out what Nigerians think about some trending issues in the society. Please join us as they share their thoughts.
First of all, I'm not passionate about leaving the country per se, like the Jackpot thing. For me, I want to actually stay in this country and then build myself. If I should go outside the country, should be for vacation and to come back. Yeah, so I'm not really interested in the illegal parts or whether it is legal or illegal. I'm not really interested.
I just want to be free. I like freedom. I like comfort. So if I'm leaving, I want it to be legal.
Human trafficking in Nigeria is not something we hear about every day, but then we know it's happening. So, but we don't hear about measures they take to curb this thing happening in the country. I don't necessarily have to say they are doing very well, but from the news, we don't hear things where we don't hear things like them getting curbing it, or maybe them busting out these women traffickers. We don't hear things like, okay, so number of persons were caught trafficking and then they have been jailed or an action has been taken against them. We don't hear these things, so we don't know if they're actually doing enough. So we'd actually urge them to do these things, and when they do it, they have to let the public know that, okay, we as a government, we are fighting human trafficking.
When you talk about human traffickers is talking about exchanging of, they is sending our young ones outside for personal purposes and personal profits. Well, what I will actually say is because the way this country is something less now. Because the first thing that the government need to do is have to fish out those who are involved in it, and I know they are doing it. Now, one benefit I know as a computer scientist or as a computer engineer is making use of what these are AI to fish out them. If they can improve on that technology, I believe they can easily be able to track out those who are involved in it. And once they are able to track out those involved in it, then those who are involved should face the persecution, should face the law. What the law says about it, then they should be able to face it. By the time they face it, I believe things like this will reduce. So my advice to the government is for them to improve their technology and how to track this thing. But for now, for me as a scientist, Nigeria is really lacking behind in terms of improvement of technology. That's what I actually want them to improve on. Nigeria is actually lacking behind in terms of technology. By the time they improve in technology, I believe tracking of this human trafficking will be very easy for Nigerians to.
For human traffickers, I feel like there should be a capital punishment because no one deserves to be trafficked, and it's actually a very, very serious offense.
It's something the government should take into consideration. It's not something we hear about all the time, yeah, but then it's something that still happens, and it still happens in many places, but then we don't really hear about it that much. So the government should actually do something or take any measure to curb human trafficking.
I don't really care about that. Again, I feel like everybody should mind their business. It's their marriage and it's their life. There's a reason why Regina Daniels, is coming out to everybody to complain. Again, probably she's too scared to face it, out in her marriage. You understand? Because I heard that she was domestically abused. Again, so that can traumatize her to do anything. So she's not seeking help from outside people. Nonetheless, anyone that works for them.
I don't think it's over. I think it's just hitting a rough patch. Yeah. Because, as they say, you cannot get in between two lovers. As she said in her recent post that she married him out of that, she fell in love with him. So,
I am Chidimi Kemede, Aneke TV. The November edition of Nkata Umuibe, held at the Center for Memories in Enugu, examined the state of human rights in Igbo land under the theme Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ. Guest speaker and human rights advocate Mr. Larry Ogwego emphasized the interdependence between people and community, likening it to that of water and fish. He traced the concept of human rights in Igbo society to pre-colonial traditions.
Okay, we are talking about asking serious questions, asking questions aggressively about the state of human rights in our Igbo. But before that question of the state of human rights in our Igbo, there's a very interesting statement, a very interesting philosophical statement in Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ. So that statement speaks to the fact that without the understanding of Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ, you may not even fully appreciate what we are going to be talking about. Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ speaks about the fact that there is no way you can make progress in a society if you do not recognize interdependence. Mmiri actually accommodates the azu. The water accommodates the fish. Without the water, the fish will not survive. But guess what? Without the fish, the water will lose part of its relevance. As a matter of fact, in several riverine areas, what takes people to the water is the fish. So if you remove the fish from the water, people may not even know the water is there. Besides being a means of moving from one point to another, one major reason people go to the water is to get fish. So there is this interdependence between Mmiri and Azu, between the water and the fish. While the water looks like it's more important because it accommodates the fish, if you remove the fish, the water loses a large part of its relevance. And that is what we are looking at today, Ndụ Mmiri Ndụ Azụ, which speaks to different aspects of Igbo philosophy. Ewe bere, ugo bere, okata na akpa dibe ma dibe aru n'oke ọnụ n'ọkụ, diri kam diri. All of these expressions speak to one fact, that we have to learn how to coexist peacefully to the benefit of all of us. So when you get that background, it lays a foundation for the conversation about the state of human rights in our Igbo.
Mr. Ogwego urged Ndi Igbo to revive communal values and use their strength to protect the vulnerable. The session, moderated by Mavis Norma, called on learning institutions to champion the restoration of human rights and dignity across our Igbo. Chidimi Kemede, Aneke TV.
The Arena with Chris Anibogo is the platform where we meet to take critical analysis of burning and topical issues and matters in the society as to proper solutions on making the society better.
You came into office, you locked the door to everybody. Nobody can even access you. You don't even play the politics.
Month in, month out, year in, year out. So where is the money going to? Where's the resources?
Whenever the economy is in a shambles, you find the government embracing pro-people policy to assuage the harsh economic reality.
It was used to settle political interest, and Nigerians were paying dearly for it.
Tune in to the Arena with Chris Anibogo every Monday through Thursday by 1 p.m. only on Aneke TV. Join us.
Aqua, water. Water is life. Ancient, sacred, pure. It remembers creation and carries cleansing. It can be calm or it can rage, but it always moves. Aqua teaches us to be soft yet strong, to adapt yet remain, to flow around obstacles yet shape even the hardest stone. We came from water. We need water, and sometimes when words fail and hearts break, only water falling from our eyes or washing over our skin can heal what language cannot. The soul is part of us that survives every storm. You can't see it, but you can feel it in silence, in longing, in every heartbeat that keeps going. It asks for more than food and fame. It hungers for meaning, for stillness, for the divine. The soul is where music is born, where peace begins, where truth hides. To care for your soul is the greatest act of self-love. For in the end, what we were fades, but what we are at our core remains.
the street today to find out what Nigerians think about some trending issues in the society. Please join us as they share their thoughts.
First of all, I'm not passionate about leaving the country per se, like the Jackpot thing. For me, I want to actually stay in this country and then build myself. If I should go outside the country, should be for vacation and to come back. Yeah, so I'm not really interested in the illegal part, or whether it is legal or illegal. I'm not really interested.
I just want to be free. I like freedom. I like comfort. So if I'm leaving, I want it to be legal.
Human trafficking in Nigeria is not something we hear about every day, but then we know it's happening. So, but we don't hear about measures they take to curb this thing happening in the country. I don't necessarily have to say they are doing very well, but from the news, we don't hear things we don't hear things like them getting curbing it, or maybe them busting out these human traffickers. We don't hear things like, okay, so number of persons were caught trafficking and then they have been jailed or an action has been taken against them. We don't hear these things, so we don't know if they're actually doing enough. So we'd actually urge them to do these things, and when they do it, they have to let the public know that, okay, we as a government, we are fighting human trafficking.
When you talk about human traffickers talking about exchanging of, that is sending our young ones outside for personal purposes and personal profits. Well, what I will actually say is because the way this country is something that's now, because the first thing that the government need to do is have to fish out those who are involved in it, and I know they are doing it. Now, one benefit I know as a computer scientist or as a computer engineer is making use of what these are AI to fish out them. If they can improve on that technology, I believe they can easily be able to track out those who are involved in it. And once they are able to track out those in it, then those who are involved should face the persecution, should face the law. What the law says about it, then they should be able to face it. By the time they face it, I believe things like this will reduce. So my advice to the government is for them to improve their technology and how to track this thing. But for now, for me as a scientist, Nigeria is really lacking behind in terms of improvement of technology. That's what I actually want them to improve on. Nigeria is actually lacking behind in terms of technology. By the time they improve in technology, I believe tracking of this human trafficking will be very easy for Nigerians to do.
For human traffickers, I feel like there should be a capital punishment because no one deserves to be trafficked, and it's actually a very, very serious offense.
It's something the government should take into consideration. It's not something we hear about all the time, but then it's something that still happens, and it still happens in many places, but then we don't really hear about it that much. So the government should actually do something or take any measure to curb human trafficking.
I don't really care about that. Again, I feel like everybody should mind their business. It's their marriage and it's their life. There's a reason why Regina Daniels, is coming out to everybody to complain. Again, probably she's too scared to face it, out in her marriage. You understand? Because I heard that she was domestically abused. Again, so that can traumatize her to do anything. So she's not seeking help from outside people. Nonetheless, anyone that works for them.
I don't think it's over. I think it's just hitting a rough patch. Yeah. Because, as they say, you cannot get in between two lovers. As she said in her recent post that she married him out of that, she fell in love with him. So,
I am Chidimi Kemede, Aneke TV.
The November edition of Nkata Umuibe, held at the Center for Memories in Enugu, examined the state of human rights in Igbo land under the theme Ndummiri Ndụ Azụ. Guest speaker and human rights advocate Mr. Larry Ogwego emphasized the interdependence between people and community, likening it to that of water and fish. He traced the concept of human rights in Igbo society to pre-colonial traditions of justice and fairness, and decried ongoing abuses by security agencies and government institutions.
When we talk about interrogate, we are talking about asking serious questions, asking questions about the state of human rights in our legal. But before that question of the state of human rights in our legal, there's a very interesting statement, a very interesting philosophical statement in Dummiri, in Duazu. So that statement speaks to the fact Mmiri actually accommodates the azu. The water accommodates the fish. Without the water, the fish will not survive. But guess what? Without the fish, the water will lose part of its relevance. As a matter of fact, in self...
Join us.